Welcome to the Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. On this week's show, we are going to recap the Polaris 27 GP, the welterweight GP, and some of the super fights that happened on that event. We are going to briefly recap the 2024 IBJJF Pans in the gi. We are going to preview ADCC North American Trials. We are also going to recap some of the karate combat action that took place this weekend for their grappling matches. As always on the show, I'm your host Maine, to my co-host
Miranda.
Hey, Miranda.
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. We got a fun bunch of stuff to go through this week. I'm excited. We got to watch IBJJF Pans while the whole Grappling Rewind crew played D&D.
Yes, we did.
So that was pretty fun.
Except for at some point we started watching Pans and not.
Yeah,
D&D.
the D&D slowed down a little bit there,
Yeah.
but. Unfortunately, we're actually going to run through Pans a little bit quicker this week's show because we do want to spend some time in ADCC Trials because there are 950 registrants right now for the West Coast Trials for North America for ADCC, and there's some interesting people we want to talk about that are in these. We'll get into how we're going to preview that a little bit later in the show when you get into the preview section of the show. But let's kick it off with a little bit of news this week. We have a bunch of invites and some exciting invites for ADCC coming up.
Yep. We have. I was like,
That was the worst transition. I just looked through and you're like, do you want me to go, mate? Like,
yeah. I was like, am I supposed to start reading them? So we have Mazenzie Dern, who's kind of been a little quiet in the grappling world for a while.
I mean, two-time ADCC champion at under 60 kilos. I was like,
Yeah.
I want to say under 55 now because that's the new women's weight class.
she's under 60.
But she's been announced for under 55 kilos,
My
which is the
question
new weight
is,
class.
can she make under 55? Because doesn't she miss
she's
weight
had
regularly?
She did, well, and then she didn't. And
Okay.
Now she seems to have figured it out last couple of fights. But if you've seen a recent fight, I'm curious how her mat work is still phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, and that's kind of been the knock on her recently, is her mat work's phenomenal, but she's had some problems getting it there in the UFC.
she'll like pull guard in UFC, which is a weird thing to do.
In the modern era, it's a little
Yeah.
bit odd. But again, two-time ADCC champion. She is absolutely someone that I'm very happy to see returning in the inaugural women's 55 under 55 kilogram division. Like, if you're going to invite someone, I think Mazenzie Dern is a phenomenal person to invite into that bracket.
True.
Again, two-time champion. You open up a weight class, bring a returning champion back. Again, it's been about 9 years since she last took a title. I think she won 20. I get my years messed up because we went from even to odd. We went from odd years to even years. I think she is 20.
I have no idea.
11
I'll go
and
with
13, I think.
I'll go with you. I agree.
Or she is 13 and 15, I think is what she is actually. So, 13 and 15. Under 60 kilogram champion for women. So that's exciting. Also announced in the under 88 kilogram division is Tye Ruotolo.
Well, that's kind of to be expected. I would assume that he gets,
I mean, if you
invited.
medal in absolute, you get an invite. Tye, I think, took third in the absolute. I don't think he medaled in his weight class, but
No.
his brother is the champion at 77. He has been in 66 kilograms in 2019, did 88 kilograms last time in 2022, and it is reasonable to expect, given the strength of his performances recently, that he would be asked back, especially being an absolute medalist for ADCC. And, let us not forget the Nicholas Margali match that had everyone in that arena going, as we watch just how tough Tye Ruotolo is in his cardio. So.
Yes. I agree.
Absolutely astonished and excited to see Tye Ruotolo returning. Also, I didn't see this actually. I missed this announcement.
You missed Mason Fowler?
I did miss this announcement.
At under 99?
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. I think
Awesome
it's
to have him in under 99. Again, watch him at the Fight Pass Invitational and basically all the stuff he's been doing recently. It is interesting that he is at under 99.
Well, I double-checked it because it just said 99. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Does it mean under? Does it mean over? And then in the, explanation,
In the bio,
it said under.
Yeah, again, he used to be 88, but he is, again, that was 2019.
He's
he was 88.
getting a little beefy.
Yeah, he's put on some muscle mass. And I think that, and guys, there's a lot of guys that are in the ADCC in 2019 that talk about, I'm not making the weight again.
Yeah.
That was and you have the younger guys that can still push down the weight, but Fowler's been there, he's done that.
The new question is going to be, do they have to weigh in both days? Because they're going to let them weigh in the day before, maybe. Or maybe
They
not.
do that for trials. They haven't changed the rules for weigh-ins for the World Championships yet. And Mo's talked about changing it. He's talking about getting approval for it.
Yeah.
But there's still
Well,
Historically in
yeah.
ADCC, you have to weigh in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday
Yeah.
for weight to basically go, hey, man, on the day, you've got to be the weight
Yeah.
that you say you are. For trials, Mo's talked about, Mo has got moved back a day so
Yeah.
athletes can weigh in. He goes, I want to see the best
That makes
performances
it a
from
lot.
the athletes in trials.
That makes it a lot easier too for your staff.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of crazy to try to weigh in 900 and something people.
Yeah,
in the morning.
and he also said for the trial specifically that if these guys win, they can make the weight again at the Worlds, but we don't want to have them doing it right before and then needing to cut again for Worlds and give them the guys that are going to win that are going to cut weight, give them that extra day of recovery time essentially and make the weight cut that little bit easier for them for trials. And then in the Worlds, they have to do the hard one, but they don't have to do 2 hard weight cuts, especially for the last trials that only is a couple months out.
Yeah.
It just gives them that little extra day of wiggle room to help the athletes out.
Works for me.
Also announced just today, I think, Jonnatas Gracie at under 77 kilograms. Which
is good.
Very good, especially with how he's looked recently.
Yeah, recently he's looked good. His last performance against he was against J-Rod. But J-Rod's under 88, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's
so
what he's registered for under 88.
Yeah.
We'll see if he is there based on potentially him being injured. We'll get into that when we talk about the previews for ADCC for trials here. But I think it's a very, very good invite. Jonnatas Gracie has been looking, really at all-time peak.
Yes.
He's never looked better than he looks right now, especially kind of gi and no gi. So very, very excited to see him at under 77 kilograms. I think that would be probably a pretty decent cut for him to get down there, but
now he's all the time in the world.
Yeah.
So
yep.
I'm sure he'll find a way.
Yeah, very few guys miss weight for ADCC.
Yeah. There's people called nutritionists, and they can teach you how to do things.
Yeah. And you have an alternate that is chomping at the bit to take your spot.
Yeah.
And so, guys know that you will be replaced if you can't make the weight.
Plus, he's on a world-class team. I can imagine his coach is probably up his ass about shit like that. So, which as he should be.
Yeah. So also announcements. We have who's number 123 coming up. We got an announcement of Jasmine Hosha versus Emily Ferreira. In that should be a fun one. We will preview that when it gets closer to the card. And then I think that's all we got for fight announcements. Barch talked about a couple other things he's on. I did some interviews this weekend down in Virginia, and there's been some events that have not been announced yet that I'm excited to talk about once they get announced that people will be on.
And then what's it called? Ffion Davies said she was talking about her matches coming up.
Oh yeah, she's like, I got a match with ADXC.
Yeah,
and then she's like, probably shouldn't say that. Didn't know.
Yeah, and then
it was so funny.
And then she said something about a match in Australia, and I think that's
in 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, I think so. I saw something called Rain that's showing up in, I think it was Australia. I think I saw a match announced today.
We'll preview that when it comes up. So next week, look for us to preview that after trials.
Yeah, I saw something about it today, but then I didn't have enough time to look into it.
Unless Fion's fighting an actual Tyrannosaurus Rex, I'm going to pick Ffion Davies.
Yeah.
There's not many people that are within 2 or 3 weight classes of Ffion, gi or no gi, that I would pick against her.
Dude, once if you did a Ffion Davies versus Gabby Pisana.
I mean, she's went against Taina Porfirio.
I get that.
They did it at Grapple Fest.
Gabby Pisana hasn't lost in 161 matches.
I mean, I watch it.
161 matches.
I watch it. It'd be a hell of a match. So, moving on, Miranda, where do you want to start?
We're just going to start with Polaris.
Polaris was fun. I love Polaris. They had a great show this weekend. I got a chance to kind of DM with the folks at Polaris a little bit back and forth. Super excited about the card. Where do you want to start with it? Want to start with the GP, Keith match, Fion's match?
Let's go Keith.
Go Keith match. Kick it off. Match. Which I forgot. This is on the undercard, and I was like, where was it? And you're like, undercard. I was like, oh, he's on the undercard. That's wild.
Yeah.
Keith is very rarely an undercard guy.
I was home all day because I was bored, and I started watching from the very beginning. And I was like, he's on the undercard? What the fuck? He doesn't belong on the undercard.
But then you realize, Polaris does it the right way. They run their GP as their main card and then have one super fight and call it an evening as opposed to having 15 matches during your turn. So it's it's one of those, I understand why they did it.
I also
cool with it.
I also like the fact for us, at least time zone wise, in the middle of the day.
Dude, the European events are the best.
So I just get up and I watch it and I can sit on my couch and
dude, Polaris at 11 a.m. is the best thing
it's freaking
ever.
Wonderful.
I love it. So, that and the Korean cards. The Korean cards are always awesome because they're also midday as well. I love it. So, Keith Krikorian, I love how in your notes here, Miranda, hits a fun armbar from a float pass.
I know. It was fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun.
It was a neat armbar. Really, it was Keith Krikorian versus Cam Donnelly.
Yeah.
And Keith was kind of playing into Cam Donnelly's guard, not really playing into his guard, but just, being reserved and sort of letting the match kind of go. And it looked like he was sort of figuring out how he wanted to address Cam Donnelly's guard. Cam Donnelly was playing a really nice kind of knee shield, modified butterfly guard.
Yeah.
And then about, 2 or 4 minutes in?
Yeah.
Keith just decides, I'm going to shoot this and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think you text messaged him a little bit and was just like,
yeah.
he just went like, I'm just going to try
I was like, hey, I want to learn this. And he was like, this isn't, like, he said, his exact comment was, it was a flop.
Lower percentage.
A flop into a low percentage armbar. And I was like, what the hell? Like, you just talk shit. Like, I was trying to say it was cool. Like, because I float pass all the time. And I'm like, why don't I grab something? I never thought about grabbing anything when I float.
The way that Keith does it is really interesting because he does it halfway through a float pass. Like, he's basically looking to slide over the top of Cam Donnelly's knee. But
he kind of allows him to elevate him.
Yeah.
So, like, as a little person, you're a little person, I'm a little person.
Yep.
You kind of, people pick you up.
Yeah.
And so you learn this whole float, like you float on top of people.
Because I can't push your knees down and stop you.
Yeah.
And Keith kind of, is doing this float pass over. Cam's lifting him up. He slides over the top of the knee and the shin, and then he grabs like a modified Kimura grip.
That's what they said, but I couldn't.
Over the top of it.
I couldn't see what it was.
He didn't go hand over hand on the Kimura grip, but he like grabbed it. That's why I said modified Kimura grip. He grabbed with the arm, and then he essentially does what I call a door chalk armbar, where you have one knee beneath the person and one leg over, and he has it the reversed way.
So kind of like the Sambo armbar.
Yeah, very similar to that kind of armbar. He does it in a way where he is able to he actually adjusts it. Cam almost gets out of it once, and Keith has to adjust it back down and is able to finish it. But really neat armbar transition off of a float pass, and it was awesome to see Krikorian kind of playing not a little fast and loose is the right way to put it, but being willing to take those sort of risks, because he is in trials at under 66 kilos this next week. And again, he's staying active, and like that sort of mixture between super aggressive points and super willing to kind of go for the sub is what has won Keith Krikorian the trials before. Yeah. And so seeing him kind of open up and play like this makes me go, ooh, he is really prepped and sharp for trials.
All of his matches in the last couple months.
Yeah, we've covered him every single week.
Every single week, yeah.
Either previewing or there was somebody back when we started Grappling Rewind that Josh and I covered and previewed, and I think it might have been Wagner. There was a period of time in like 2017 or early 2018 where there was like 2 or 3 months where we covered Wagner Hosha. I think it was Wagner. Every single week, either recapping or previewing a match, and sometimes both. And we called him Mr. Competition. I think it was Wagner, but maybe I'll text Josh and see if he remembers who it was. But yeah, Keith is essentially 2024's Mr. Competition. Which is fine. Yeah. I mean, good for him. Yeah, so Keith takes a nice submission victory here at Polaris 27. Let's move on to the middleweight GP. So Polaris uses a rule set that I actually really like. It does have its drawbacks in certain circumstances, but I really like it. It's basically 1 point for everything. Yep. Makes it really easy to follow, really easy to pay attention to, and usually it doesn't matter. Yeah. Because usually in Polaris matches, there's one guy scoring points, and then occasionally the other person will have a point or two. Yeah. But usually it's usually not that close. Somebody is able to start implementing and scoring, and the other person is not. So 1 point for everything actually makes it really easy. Unfortunately, you kind of can't count the points for, that was definitely a back take, that was this. Yeah. You kind of have to. It doesn't matter because they're all, it's like, did you score? Yeah, you did a thing that scores. Okay, and it scores like traditional jiu-jitsu where it's like you score for a takedown, you score for mount, you score for back mount, you score for a sweep, you score for a pass. So there's no like weirdness where they're scoring. They may or may not score for knee on belly, but it's something that doesn't come up very often in pro competition. But yeah, 1 point for everything makes it really easy to follow. PJ Barch kicks it off with Luis Paulo or Luis Paulo? I think it's Luiz, but I just forgot the Z and I put S. Luis Paulo. Luis Paulo is a trials winner for South American Trials. A guy that we were not very familiar with. No. But again, you win trials, that kind of means you're a monster. And he looked good versus Barch. I just didn't. He was not on my radar. I mean, I don't remember
And I should remember him from South America. I don't know.
It was really
why.
recently.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, yeah,
So
I just had no idea.
So peek behind the curtain here for Grappling Grind. If we don't remember an up-and-comer's match, and especially in a big event like finals, it was either because the match is very quick and it was just a quick sub and it was like, well, there's not much to the match, you just subbed him. Or it's because someone played like a really dominant positional victory game that was like, that's exactly what you should have done, but there was nothing like specific about it that was noteworthy.
Normally,
both are great ways to win, but usually that's when we struggle to remember. So I'm guessing Luis Paulo had one of those methodologies to victory here, and I'm guessing with kind of how he approached Barch, it was probably a quick sub.
Yeah.
Again,
or it was this year's South American Trials was a lot of wrestling, and it could have been one of those.
Oh, this is one of those. Yeah,
it
this
could
is
have been
hand fighty wrestling final.
That's what I mean. It could have been one of those finals where they were like slapping each other and like doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I think this is. Yeah, he played it very well, but there was no big moment that I was like that stamped that as like, oh, this is what part of his game,
or like some kind of weirdness.
Yeah,
that's normally how I know things by weird outfits and.
I was super impressed here. I am amped to see Paulo in ADCC after this match with Barch, because Barch has looked phenomenal. Again, unless it's versus Mickey Galvao where he gets knocked out before Andrew Tackett, like versus everyone else, Barch has looked like a monster in the last 6 months. Yeah. And Luis Paulo really put it to him. Barch again still takes
foot swept him like immediately, and I was like, whoa, but PJ Barch also said that he's a slow starter.
Yeah, he said that before.
Yeah, which I mean I can completely see. But at the same time, like it happened once, but then he didn't foot sweep him.
Yeah, and you saw Barch get more diligent with his stance and knew, okay, this is something Paulo can do this. I got to be aware of it. There was some really nice back and forth. They went into the feet back and forth. Yeah. Paulo was attacking the feet and like had a couple of good looks onto Barch's feet. Barch returned a couple of times. This was a very back and forth match, and it goes to decision. I actually thought in the decision, I was like, ooh, I see this could absolutely go either way here.
And the weird thing about Polaris was the ref that was on the mat also made a decision. So when they all raised their hands, the ref on the mat would raise his hand too. Yeah. And the guy on the mat picked Paulo and not Barch, and then kind of got a little like butthurt when he didn't win. Like
had to raise the
had to raise Barch's hand.
You saw the exact same thing that I saw.
Had this facial expression like what?
No, guys. But again, that's also why you have 3 referees, because the referee on the mat, he is always the guy. At least in ADCC, you have a primary judge on a table, you have a secondary judge on a table, and you have the referee. Yeah. And they all have equal standing for the decision, but you will always usually defer to the primary, and like because the primary has the most experience and is watching the most closely. The referee has other duties, and a decision is part of what he does. The judge is the only thing you're doing is judging.
And this match has Luis Paulo grabs a guillotine, and they like go off on the side, like into the wires. But it was a deep like it was a good, pretty decent guillotine if he didn't go into the wiring.
Well, I think Barch also partially escaped that before they reset. They gave him the time to work, but it was definitely a weird reset because they were like caught in a bunch of like
wires.
AV equipment. But Barch wins the split decision here. Yeah. I think again he's a slow starter. He knows he's a slow starter. That was evident here. But man, I am really impressed with Luis Paulo.
Yeah, I am too.
I'm absolutely going to keep him on my radar after this. Again, trials and this close match with Barch. Yeah. He's the guy to watch out for. Barch moves on. Next match, we have Levi Jones Leary versus Shane Curtis. Shane Curtis is the gentleman that has the goth lock, that has Athletes of Satan, that has a tattoo on his face and is very heavily tattooed. You've seen him on...
He comes out to like some crazy-ass like metal too.
Yeah. You've seen him on every every European card ever. He's a staple in the European scene. He even comes over to the U.S. He's been in finishers, pretty frequent competitor. Davis Cesare missed weight. Yeah. And
they said by a couple kilograms.
So,
which makes me think that's a kilogram is 2.5 pounds.
Yeah.
So that's significant.
And if they're saying a couple, that is more than 2. So that means you missed weight by more than 5 pounds. And so again, I didn't really look much into this after. Usually that means something else is going on, or like a guy gets hurt, or is not cutting, or messes up his weight cut and just knows he can't make the weight.
Who was it that recently? It was Keith Krikorian that had to take like a plane and then take like a train and like to get to one of like the
Grapple Fest. It was a Grapple Fest.
And like they had to take like multiple methods of transportation. He was like weight cutting the whole time. It was like this whole like thing.
Yeah.
But he made the weight.
Yeah.
Just
so
saying.
Asari misses the weight. Again, usually when it's by that much weight, there's more to the story. I don't want to, speak ill about, Asari missing weight, but Shane Curtis comes in to replace him versus Levi Jones Leary. And so it doesn't affect the bracket. Potentially affects the bracket a little bit because they didn't move Asari's position with late replacement Shane Curtis.
Yeah.
And so we can talk about the bracket all we want, but I think it's fine bracketing. Yeah. Levi Jones Leary, we've seen him in no-gi before, but it is not frequent at all.
No.
That dude good at the bolo.
Yeah.
Man, he good at the bolo.
He's a gi dude. He's always been in the gi. Mm-hmm. He always has weird colored hair.
Yep.
And he matches. Like his clothes always match. His hair matches to his clothes.
He's a stylish gentleman.
Yeah, he is.
He's a character for sure.
He's a character. His outfits are
He's a character just in general.
Yeah.
He'll do like rap battles. He won Spider back in the day. Like very, very good grappler. He's a dude that'll live and die by it because we watched him get double DQ'd for double pulling worlds a couple years back, and you're like, oh, he almost got double DQ'd in the $100,000 Spider tournament. Like Levi Jones Leary will stick to his guns and play his Berimbolo game and pull on you every time. And we've seen him get DQ'd at the highest level for that on double pull situations in IBJJF when you can get DQ'd. Even in no-gi, Levi Jones Leary got it done. How many points did he end up racking up on Shane Curtis before the end?
6-0.
Okay, only 60. But again, 6 different bolo and back take sequences essentially, and then the last one, he ends up getting Shane Curtis's back.
Dude, my comment is holy shit, Levi bolo recovery, because
dude,
you watch a normal person do a bolo, okay? They hook the leg, they roll under.
Yeah, so if you don't know what Berimbolo is,
okay,
we don't talk. Actually, we don't talk about Berimbolo a lot on the show. It is basically a really fancy inverted back take that you do from the guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you invert on your neck and your back, and you flip the knees and hips a certain way. As you lift the person, you get underneath them, you push them forward. It kind of looks like a Kiss of the Dragon back take, but from inverted on your neck. Levi Jones Leary
in the gi, it's a million times easier because you can hold on to people's clothes as you do it. In no-gi, it's a lot more difficult, and it's more
extremely difficult.
It's more of like using your legs as hooks to kind of grab onto the other legs and pull them around. Normally, people go one direction. So you hook the leg and you roll and you go. He, mid going under, would be like, oh, I need to go the other way, and just hook the other leg and start going the other way. And he would switch 4 times beneath somebody before he came up. And I was like, holy fuck.
Levi Jones Leary is up there with Mikey Musumeci as the best Berimbolo player in the world. I honestly would probably give it to Levi Jones Leary. Levi Jones Leary is the best person. We talk about Roberto Jimenez being the best double unders back taker in the sport. Levi Jones Leary, I think by a pretty decent margin, is the best Berimbolo player in the sport. And if you're wondering why, this match is an example of just the dexterity that he has with his legs and his understanding of position to cycle between these different back takes and come-ups in order to get either the back, really the back most of the time, or to top side control, which he gets here a couple of times on Shane Curtis.
Yeah, which equates to a point because they take it as a guard pass.
Yeah.
So he...
Sweep. Because he's bottom of the top.
Oh, sweep, not guard pass. I don't know what I meant by guard pass. But anyway, sweep. And for whatever reason, Shane Curtis doesn't really try to respond to it. He just kind of doesn't try to get boloed.
Yeah, he keeps flattening his back out to the side and preventing Levi from taking his back.
Yeah.
But as a result, Levi goes, okay, if you're gonna just not belly down, you're gonna base back and prevent the back take. I'm just gonna come up and score my points. And Levi Jones Leary is, again, one of the best guys in the world at this technique. He knows how to score off of this technique, even without the gi, where he doesn't have the grips that he preferentially likes. He's going to get there.
Yeah, and he gets to 6-0, and then at the very end, his bolo works.
Yeah, and he gets it, and he slides it through, and that's all there is. Yeah. And he ran against Shane Curtis with about 40 seconds left.
Yeah, but it was interesting to watch. If you want to watch some bolos.
I have a dude I train with that's a bolo guy now. And
who?
Very, very at the University Club.
Oh, okay.
Very, very good bolo player, and so it has been my nightmare for the past year of me being Shane Curtis.
Yeah.
And this repeatedly has. So I was like, oh, it's cool to watch someone else get rolled around like I
Yeah.
get rolled around by this student who is a
And-
very, very good Berimbolo
And
player.
the announcers kept on getting really excited that Shane Curtis was going to attempt the goth lock,
Yeah.
which is
What he hit at Grapple Fest a month ago.
Yeah.
It's a modified
it's like
head and arm buggy
buggy.
variation on the
Yeah.
same side that you can kind of do from the position that he was letting Levi Jones Leary get to.
Yeah.
But Levi Jones Leary is, again, one of the best dudes in
well,
the world.
and Levi Jones Leary even said that he looked into it like overnight, looked at the goth lock and figured out. And you could watch him like Shane would go to grab his head, and you would just see him pop his head up
Yeah.
and kind of know how to resist it.
Mhm.
And he's been,
But it's good. That's why Levi
yeah.
Jones Leary is so good, because he, it's a weird, odd technique, but also Levi Jones Leary didn't go, no, I'm fine with it. He
Yeah.
looked it up and paid attention to it. Like, I love to hear athletes talking about
Yeah.
it and doing that. And actually, like, do your research on the guy, especially if they have a weird thing. Don't just expect to be better. Like,
Yeah.
it was awesome. Levi Jones Leary moves on. Next, we have Max Hansen versus Espen Mathisen.
I called this one.
Yeah, you did. Like, really verbatim. Like, last week, you hit the nail on the head with kind of the dynamic
Yeah.
of this matchup. We talked about Max Hansen versus Espen last week, and
Yeah.
I think your point last week was Espen has just been competing at a higher level
Yeah.
for longer,
Yeah.
and he's just going to know how to deal with what Max is bringing to the table.
Yeah.
And Max Hansen just wasn't able to get past Espen's guard
Yeah.
the entire match, and Espen was able to really do more and play more of the Berimbolo, like, lassoed
Yeah.
no-gi game on Hansen, and Hansen just has not had as much experience against high-level specialists
Yeah.
like Espen, and just didn't have a great answer for how to deal with, okay, you have a guy that's amazing at this style of guard.
Yeah.
You're not going to, in the match,
I
figure
can't
it out.
imagine it, if you think about it, at like where Max Hansen trains, who's the bolo guy there? Like Dante Land's not gonna.
Okay, well, that's not a bolo guy.
He probably could.
He can.
Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
he
we've seen
probably
him do
has
it. He
the abil-
can do it.
But he's not the same sort of super bendy bolo.
No.
And I don't know who else they would have.
Yeah, I don't
He would
know
have-
who else at that gym is like a good and like not very many guys
have that
have
game.
that
You would
kind of
always
game
have to
at
see.
Espen's even close to Espen's
Yeah, you would
level.
have to find you would have to search out somebody who has
Yeah.
that game to almost be able to know how to get around it.
And that was really the
pass it.
strength of the Berimbolo back in like 2014, 2015. It was that guys that hadn't trained with a bolo guy just didn't have good answers for the bolo. And,
Yeah.
and Max Hansen, to his credit here, absolutely has good answers to the
Yeah.
bolo and doesn't get boloed and is able to stay out of it.
Yeah.
But he's never able to put the kind of pressure into the guard that he needs to start passing it, because Espen is so good at maintaining that range. It's
Yeah.
what we saw Espen do versus Bruno Lima.
Yeah.
Like, it's if you cannot deal with Espen's guard and be able to get him up and get him over and like
Yeah.
throw by or like double under him, he won't let you get there,
Yeah.
then you sort of get stuck in this mid to long range where Espen is sort of firing things off at you.
Yeah.
Not maybe being super successful with it, but like he is putting you on the defensive
Yeah.
and you're playing through his guard. And that really was the dynamic of the match
Yeah.
that you called last week. And that's exactly what we saw. Absolutely think Max Hansen will come back and like we'll see him continue to improve as
Yeah.
he has. But Espen right now, again, those years at that high level of competition,
Yeah.
right now this is one of those like, matches where we thought he was going to take it, and he takes it pretty much exactly how
Yeah.
we thought he was going to take it. You had an interesting note here. If you want
Which
to go
one?
through the how he plays the bolo.
Oh, yeah. So, Espen does, he does a lot of competitions, but he does AJP because that side of the world kind of does a lot more AJP than our side of the world.
Yeah,
And in AJP, they outlawed
he outlawed it. The butt grip.
The butt grip.
The-
I don't know how
The Berimbolo grip
the
where you grab in the butt crack of
Yeah,
the pants and you yank their pants
yeah,
down.
you-
It's a very
the-
effective grip,
yes.
but AJP doesn't really like the butt coming out during competition, and so the year that they made the rule, they changed it to 6 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
When they did that big rule change, they made that grip illegal because
Yeah.
people were seeing too many butts, and they were like, you can't pull the pants down.
Yeah. So he does his bolo with like a hip grab rather
Yeah.
than a butt grip. And so that coming from gi to no gi will translate easier than somebody like Levi, though we didn't see that problem with Levi. But that problem of like going for that grip that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and no-gi.
Yeah,
So
in no gi.
it was interesting, and again, I'm a big fan. We've talked about on the pre-show.
Yeah.
I don't like that they have. I think I'm one of 2 people on Grappling Grind that don't like that grip.
I don't really care. Do you
yeah.
know who did Who did it? Oh no, it was either Demetrius Johnson or no, I don't know. Somebody
at Pans.
Yeah, somebody at Pans did.
I mean, it's an IBJJF grip
Yeah.
where you can just yank their pants down for that grip. It's a great grip.
No one's butt fully came out like a Tye Ruotolo situation.
Yeah, like a Keenan Cornelius. Like we've seen many a butt over the year. We saw Malachi's butt. Like it happens a lot in AJP.
The meow butts.
Yep, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So next match we had Joseph Chen versus Harrison Wood.
Harrison Wood's the qualifiers champion.
Yeah, for Polaris.
Yeah, he was another gentleman. Didn't really know who he was. He was a ginger dude. I was like, ginger dude.
But again, you win the qualifier, like we saw with Mateusz Maczulewicz.
Yeah,
like
Maczulewicz
he won the Polaris qualifier. He was in the GP, and then he goes on to win the European trials for ADCC. Like winning the Polaris qualifier is usually an indication that you're pretty good. So I am, even regardless of his performance here, guess we're going to see more from Harrison Wood. He's a young guy. Joseph Chen is very, very good.
Yeah.
And we saw Joseph Chen look to be on the offensive with the leg locks after like a counter leg lock from Harrison. But it was really Joseph Chen seemed to be in the driver's seat most of this match.
Yes.
And Harrison would try to counter something, but Chen would have a much better bite on a heel hook or a better bite on a positional change.
Or he would go, or Harrison would grab a leg, and he's like, I'm going to take your back now. And just like teleport to the back. Yeah. Which
Chen was just like a step ahead of a lot of the transitions that Wood was making. And eventually, and the heel hook he had on Harrison Wood, I was really impressed with. And even Joseph Chen in the interview at the end of the match was like, "Yeah, man, I thought he just kind of tanked that. He was super tough for that. He didn't think he would tap the Kimura that he finished him with because of how much he was able to fight the heel hook.
Yeah.
But Joseph Chen hits an amazing, like modified step through, like the omoplata Kimura is what I want to call it. And it's a power Kimura. Yeah. There's another name for this particular Kimura, and I've been trying to remember it since I watched this, since you took notes on it. I don't remember, but it's the omoplata power Kimura from the same side, like you're almost setting up for a Peruvian grip, like that reverse step over on the body. He gets it. It is the strongest Kimura in the game. And just Chen hits it, and then that was the match. Yeah. And that's, again, kind of how we thought it was going to go. That's sort of how your brackets in big tournaments like this are supposed to go, where it's like your 1, 2, 3, and 4 seed, take out your 5, 6, 7th, and 8th seed. That is kind of what we expect, especially at this high level when there's huge money on the line. So, anything on the first round, Miranda?
No.
Moving on to the second round of the semifinals, we had PJ Barch versus Espen Mathisen. PJ Barch starts slow in the first round, does not start slow in the second round.
Not at all.
He goes, hey, Espen, you picked this up too.
Yeah.
You primarily compete in the gi, where I can't rip a 50-50 heel hook from the top.
Yeah.
And
so I'm going to do that to you.
And then PJ Barch from the top rope drops back and hits a really quick inside heel hook, I think.
I don't remember.
It was a kind of a unique heel hook. I'm kind of blanking on exactly what it was.
He reached back for it, so I really don't know. But he was like, after on the post fight, he was like, I know he wasn't used to this, so that's why I did it.
And that's great game. That's great game planning. It's like Espen, primarily a gi guy. Again, Tuss has great no gi. We've seen it before, but PJ's like, that's what you do. That's what we've seen for years and years. What's the first thing? If I'm ever fighting a gi guy in no gi, the first thing you do is you throw a heel hook, just in case. In case you get it, and PJ Barch is a very, very good leg locker and is able to get it here. Not much more on that match. That was just very, very smart game planning like we've seen from Barch before, and, gets it done.
Yeah.
Next match, we had Joseph Chen versus Levi Jones Leary. I was really excited for this match, and then a little bit sad as Levi Jones Leary went, yeah, man, that first match where I was really good with Berimbolo, nothing's changed in the last 30 minutes. I'm still really good at the Berimbolo.
He hits he doesn't hit the general Berimbolo on this one. He goes K-guard, goes under to like X, does like the elevator sweep where you pick him up and kind of put him down with your, and then
like Kiss the Dragon sweep, like where you chair sit him. You lift him up from the X guard and you sit him into your lap and you take their back. Yeah,
he does that early on in the match, and I'm like, this is a lot faster than I expected it to. But Joseph deals with some crazy, he toughs it out more than I expected, because that arm was right across his face and it was cracking his head.
It was
and
one of those
like,
where I didn't think when it was deepest that he was going to tap, but Levi was literally one small adjustment away from being able to finish that.
Yeah.
And the camera angle was great. You could see basically Chen gets his face enough into the choke and turns his shoulders like probably 5 degrees down in a way that Levi Jones Leary will need to adjust his backhand behind to turn the head down, which Levi Jones Leary can absolutely do.
Yeah.
And it's basically a race of like, can Joseph Chen get the hip off and turn the shoulders before Levi Jones Leary can make that adjustment with his hands, and Chen, to his credit, was able to do it.
But Levi gets his 1 point from getting the back at that point, and then it's impossible to pass.
Yeah, you're not going to pass Levi Jones Leary.
Yeah.
Somebody will.
People do, but
I can't remember anyone offhand.
Yeah, because every time you think you're passing him, he's somehow like
boloing you.
Or he just completely inverts and his feet come from nowhere and they just come in and you're in the guard again. I'm
curious if the K guard switches we saw here from Levi are kind of a result of training with Lachlan. We know it's a position that Lachlan is really, really proficient at. Go back and watch ADCC 2019 Absolute. Very, very good at that position. And the switch looked like an OG Lachlan transition. Yeah. It's something that we've seen in Levi Jones Leary's game before. But again, he's been off the radar of competition for a little bit for us, and so it's nice to see him coming back here. But really dominant Berimbolo-esque performance from Levi Jones Leary, and Chen wasn't able to stop
pass.
And it was clearly Levi Jones Leary's match.
And I think that was also this experience, or this fight was a little bit of, or match was a little bit of Levi being around for a long period of time and having a really experienced, very good guard, and Joseph Chen just being newer at the game and just not having enough. He knew how to pass, but he didn't know exactly what passes to put together to get through it, if that makes any sense.
He couldn't change the range to the range that he needed to work in, and so he had to work at the range Levi Jones Leary wanted, and didn't seem to have a perfect answer for the pass that he needed for that.
And I think that's an experience thing.
This is a weird match because it seemed like, not a weird match, a very interesting match because it seems like, this is a match that Joseph Chen will absolutely take stuff away from, and I'm guessing this match will drastically improve his passing.
Yeah, and I think this is also Levi Jones Leary definitely, once he got his 1 point, he played the normal TLI game of I'm just going to keep you away from me now. Yeah.
And that's
how
you win, though.
And that's all he had to do.
So Levi Jones Leary takes that on 1 point. Again, it was pretty dominant, but Chen was able to keep it to 1 point.
Because even Chen made the comment about like how he was going to pressure people and he was going to use like his high speed and pressure game. And if you ever listen to Levi Jones Leary, he talks about how like he was beat up at Unity for years.
By Murillo. And then you look at like, who was at Unity when he was there? Murillo, Santana, Devontae Johnson.
Both the
Meows. Junie. Jefferson Gracie. You have Sebastian Rodriguez. All of those guys that are monstrous top players.
Yeah, so I can imagine that you can really pressure him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he
Murillo Santana on top, you ain't gonna pressure Levi Jones Leary. Levi Jones Leary said in an interview, hey, Murillo Santana on top of me, you ain't gonna pressure past me. Levi Jones Leary takes a very good performance over that. Moving on to the finals, we have PJ Barch versus Levi Jones Leary. PJ Barch goes, hey, you're really good at the Berimbolo. I've seen that for years. I've seen you do it twice in this tournament. For Polaris, you are required to have contact with me before you can pull guard. I'm just gonna shoot on you every time you make that contact. And 2 different times, PJ Barch is able to get scoring takedowns on.
Blast doubles him twice. The second time he picks him up off the mat when he does it.
But but that's like, that's what you have to do. PJ Barch knows that like as soon as Levi Jones is able to legally pull guard on me, he will. And so the minute that you make contact, I'm going to shoot as hard as I can, and he wins the tournament for that. Like that
Levi
was the game
almost
plan.
in the end he almost gets his back.
Yeah.
He gets real close. There's a couple of real close times.
And this is one of those experience things where you know that Barch has played through like bendy, guard, retention, and bolo guys.
He's from the 10th Planet world.
Yep. Where a lot of those guys love that game. He's been in those rooms for years and years and years with guys that have a style of game much closer to Levi Jones Leary, and so he seemed to know where he was going to sit in the guard. And also, in kind of contrast to Levi Jones Leary's earlier match, Levi Jones Leary is down now.
Yeah.
So Levi Jones Leary has to overextend his guard in order to try to make something happen. And Barch knows, I don't have to pass this guy's guard.
Yeah.
I just have to stop him from sweeping me. And that changes the dynamic when you have a bolo player where you can suddenly play about 8 inches back further on your hips. Yeah. And they have to force and get under you. Whereas if you have to pass, you have to get over the bolo player, and they're going to be able to get something going.
And the difference with PJ and how he handles this and Levi's original match with Shane Curtis is that every time Levi tries to bolo and then comes up from the bolo, PJ just
wrestles him.
He wrestles him. He just completely assaults him. Yeah. So that he can't. So that he doesn't put PJ to his butt.
He wrestles the bolo down, which is something we haven't seen guys do in a couple of years. I don't remember guys doing it in a couple of years, but this was sort of the meta counter to the bolo, probably in 2018, 19 was guys would try to bolo, and then you would have to learn how to wrestle down from the bolo. And PJ is a guy absolutely from that era, knows how to do that, and we got to see it again, which is kind of neat because we haven't seen a guy counter a Berimbolo with a wrestle down in a long time. It was super neat. Again, this kind of reinvigorates my enjoyment of watching PJ Barch. Honestly, I'm super excited to see what Levi Jones Leary does. It wouldn't surprise me to see him going to ADCC.
Yeah.
Has he? I think for some reason I think he's been there before. I think in 2019 he either got an invite or was in it. I don't remember, but I think he was.
I'll Google that while we.
But yeah, man, PJ Barch is just phenomenal. I cannot wait to see more of him. And great finals. He wins the money, and looked really good doing it. I'm excited to see him.
And he was being coached by Keith Krikorian the whole time.
I missed that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they were coaching.
They go way back.
They were coaching each other.
That's cool. That is really cool.
Yeah.
Moving on to the finals, the main event the main super fight match of the card. Ffion Davies versus Brianna Ste-Marie. This was a rematch of the ADCC under 60 kilogram finals from the last ADCC. Ffion won that, and Brianna got second. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Ffion is good.
She is very good.
This match looked not nearly as close as their last match. Ffion immediately wrestles up, gets a takedown, puts Brianna back in her guard, which is primarily where Brianna wants to play.
Jumps a triangle.
She tries to, but then Ffion is immediately diligent, in position, has her hands in, never lets Brianna get that topside leg for that high guard over, just spends about 45 seconds walking into the guard and preventing that triangle from happening.
I don't think Levi Jones Leary was ever in ADCC.
I swear to God,
maybe
he was on a short list, or he got an invite and never didn't do it.
I don't know. I don't see him.
I'm blanking. I swear to God, I remember him in an ADCC
I see him
poster
at Nogi Worlds
in 2019.
And I see him at a couple other. Well, there's one world champion, but I think that's Worlds. I don't see him.
Maybe I'm mucking him up with Shane Jamil Taylor.
How are you messing the two of them up? They're two
very lapel-driven gi players, and Shane got an invite that year for ADCC, and also Levi beat Shane that year in spite of it. So maybe I'm conflating those two together.
Okay. That's an interesting, confusing situation.
Don't look similar at all, but that's the game. Similar games.
Yeah.
Ffion looked phenomenal in this match.
She did.
From bell to bell, this was Fion's show.
Yeah.
This looked even more dominant than the ADCC match. This looked even more dominant than most of Fion's recent matches, aside from the match with Jasmine, which Ffion just utterly dominated.
She was attacking.
Man,
let me see what I can do.
Ffion opened the guard. Brianna's tried to sweep. Ffion almost gets past. I really don't have much more to say.
The calf crush from the back I was like...
Commentary did a great job of explaining that.
Yeah, that's not a position I like to be in. I don't like my leg in that position. That position scares the shit out of me for my knees.
So what we're talking about is at one point Ffion gets to the back. She's able to trap Brianna's leg in basically...
her legs.
Yeah. Up on top of the thigh, and so you end up with a calf splitter where you can, if you can grab their back, you can sit them back onto you and get this really nasty calf slicer.
I actually had that done to me when I was a white belt and really fucked up one of my legs.
Ew.
Yeah.
I've done this to people a lot. Actually, I know. I got hit with this a couple months ago in the gi, and I didn't think the guy was going to be able to get it, and he got me. I was like, oh, you got me. And it was cool. But it's a ridiculously strong position. I was really impressed with Brianna's ability to not get submitted by this. Like, she does all of the right things here. And Fion's even able to get her pushed out to start to come up with the back take with the leg, and Brianna is still able to get her leg out. Like, that sequence was phenomenal that Ffion was able to set it up. But to me, even more impressive that Brianna was able to escape it.
Yes.
It was just, that was probably the closest on the back take with the rear naked choke, but this was all Ffion bell to bell. Yeah. Really, other than Ffion kind of defending a teepee at one point, like a high guard for the beginning of the match. Once she dealt with that and started passing.
Yeah, it was kind of her show.
It was her show completely.
Yeah.
There were no points in this one because it was a super fight, but this would have been very clearly scored for Ffion. There is not a rule set in grappling where Ffion did not win this definitively. Yeah. I'm super excited to see. Again, we are going to see both of these women back at it again, but man, this is really showing the gap that Ffion is putting on some of the people in her division. I want to see her run it back with Elizabeth Clay on Polaris, because Elizabeth Clay beat her at Polaris. I want to see it again.
Clay's pregnant.
Oh, she is. Damn it.
Babies.
In like 3 years. Yeah. I want to see him run it back. But Ffion is truly well ahead of her division, because Brianna looked phenomenal at the last, won both trials in 2019 and 2020, and then got silver at the Worlds, and Ffion put a performance like this against her. That is rare. We're watching a really, really cool career here with Ffion Davies, and I am very excited to see what she continues to win.
So that was Polaris 27, and that was on Fight Pass, UFC Fight Pass.
And it's great. The interface is awesome.
Keith's match is on YouTube, so you can
catch
the undercard.
It's on Fight Pass too.
Yeah, the undercard's on YouTube.
Yep, I love that Polaris does that. So we're going to run through IBJJF Pans very quickly here. Or you want to do Karate Combat first?
No, we can do Pans real quick. Right.
We're going to run through Pans.
Let's do my fun notes that I made.
Let's do Miranda's fun notes at the top of the preview of the recap section.
Yes, at the top. We're going to do Zhao Miao hit his 14th title at Pans. 14
fucking Pan titles. Like, I thought about that. I was like, he's been winning Pan titles longer than I've been doing the sport.
Forever.
14. But also, you think back, he has some of those Pan titles at like blue belt juvenile.
Yeah.
And he's now in Masters 1.
And there's some where he closed out with his brothers. So
there's a bunch with there's a bunch of quad Cicero. There's 4 years of Cicero Costa, Cicero Costa International, Cicero Costa International, closed from quarters on.
Yeah.
But still, he still won it.
He still won it. He put on a very good performance. He did what was that? It was like a fake guard sit to a
ankle pick.
Yeah. That I was like, huh. But anyway, he puts on a very good performance.
14 fucking Pan titles.
He does.
He's still there, Masters 1, doing it.
Well,
he shows up next year. He'll probably take a 15th.
He's a little broken right now. So,
he is, but
he's getting there. But
14 Pan titles.
Yes, 14.
We up there with Leandro Lowe.
And then Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse,
MMA fighter, former UFC champion, current ONE FC champion, general sandbagger supreme. And I say that with the most respect.
He's been training for 18 years, he said.
Yeah. But I love Demetrius Johnson, puts on the gi a couple times. Recently, honestly, more than he ever has before.
He says he likes the gi.
Yeah. But Demetrius Johnson is a true martial artist.
Yeah.
And he has been for years. Here's early interviews back when he's in WEC.
Yeah.
He's a true martial artist and he wants to improve. And him and Matt Hume want to improve him as a martial artist. And that's why he puts on the gi, because he wants to do martial arts. Still a brown belt.
Yeah.
He won Brown Belt Masters Worlds in a really impressive performance.
Yeah.
We covered that when he did it because it was cool to watch him. They floated a thing on him, and it was awesome to watch him compete. He's back here at Pans, also an absolute, and looking phenomenal.
Pretty much. He was coached by Lucas Pinheiro.
Yeah, world champion Lucas Pinheiro.
Yeah.
Similar size to Demetrius
Yes.
Johnson. Again, Demetrius Johnson's probably going to get a
yeah.
black belt soon. He's in Masters 2. The sandbag thing was a joke. I have the utmost respect for Demetrius Johnson being out there.
Yeah, and I mean, he won his Master 2 brown feather bracket. And then he goes into Absolute, and he was going against like 300-pound men.
250, I think.
Yeah.
I think I was 250.
The guy was big.
You texted me a video.
He took him down.
You texted me a video of him getting like literally closed. Like what's the term?
Spun around.
Spun around. You're like,
I posted
when
that.
big guys say they're not going to use strength on you.
That's my Facebook.
That is you on Facebook.
That was
that
was my Instagram post. Because, like, do you know how many times people are like, I'm not using my strength on you, and then they spin you around in a circle by your gi?
Yeah. So
Happens.
Demetrius Johnson, the guy had 100 pounds, and then Demetrius Johnson, he beats him too.
He double legs him.
He double legs him, and then he beats him by a rolling bow and arrow.
Yeah.
I thought it was a helicopter choke.
Yeah.
You're like, no, it's a rolling bow and arrow. I was like, oh, right.
Now, it would be cool if it was a helicopter choke.
It's very similar to how you do a helicopter choke.
Like, I think he has like 3 or 4 matches in his division, and then he goes in, has 3 or 4 matches in Absolute, and he loses in Absolute finals to a triangle. So he finally gets a long, lanky, heavyweight guy that just like fucks him up with the guard.
Yeah.
And that's the only way, the only thing that works. And he triangles him.
So I can't wait to see Demetrius Johnson in probably a year, less than a year, back in these things at black belt. Like he is a very fun guy to watch.
Which
is why I flew out to Colorado to watch him in 1FC.
Do you see what could happen when somebody gets a little bit older? We could have.
Oh, hell yeah.
We could have Zhao Miao
versus Demetrius Johnson.
Because they're both featherweights.
I'd watch the hell out of that match. That'd be awesome.
Because, I mean, we could say Zhao gets a little bit bigger. He goes up to feather. And Demetrius, stays there. They meet at Master 2.
I would for sure watch that match.
I mean, if not, super fight opportunity right there.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. So,
yeah.
That's IBJ. That's some of the fun notes from Pans.
Yeah. Micah Galval had a absolute great performance, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
He allegedly may have screwed up his foot in his first match.
Yeah, it didn't look that you showed me the video of it.
He kind of jerked up. That's the only his one response is like he has a very...
He may have broken his foot earlier in the tournament is what we're getting
like
at.
Within the first 30 seconds of the first match.
And then he wins.
Yeah.
And then he wins the whole thing. But hopefully his foot isn't in your notes. May have fucked up his foot.
Yeah.
So hopefully that doesn't happen. Also, Adam Wardzinski took an injury in this tournament in the semifinals.
Yeah.
Which is why we didn't see him versus Felipe Andrew in the finals.
Yeah, he was sitting in the background of some of the finals matches, all sad with a thing of ice on his shoulder.
I know. I saw that and I was like, oh, what happened to Wardzinski? He texted me that he hurt his shoulder. I went, oh, I'm sad. Wardzinski's one of my favorite guys in the sport. So let's move on to the recap of the adult black belt divisions. We're going to run through it pretty quickly because we want to get into the preview for ADCC because honestly, I think we have more to talk about for a lot of that. Pan stats, BJJ Heroes has a really great breakdown. They were 168 male matches, 62 female matches. These are all for adult black belt.
Yeah.
Male submission rate was 32%. Female submission rate was 27%. Total submissions were 35%. Jackson, the guy, had the most submissions of anyone at 4. 80% of his matches ended in submission, 4 out of 5. So let's move on to the men's roosterweight division. We had a final of Taliesin Soares versus Rodney Barbosa. This is Taliesin Soares playing on top, playing the game 0-0 points, wins by 2 advantages to take the whole thing.
Yeah.
Played a super well tactical match off a double pole, came up, then played in the guard, and that was the entire match.
There was a match in quarterfinals, the Wanky Shea guy.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'd never heard that name before,
really?
And then I was like, Wanky Shea.
He's been around forever.
And then I watched him, and he got robbed. He got so robbed because like he was playing the lapel game, and he was actually doing shit. And
he's a fun guy to watch.
And they kept on hitting him on penalties, but like Taliesin Soares and all those fuckers can do the same thing, and they don't get called on the same disadvantage or the
about
same.
Your camp.
I know.
IBJJF is about your camp.
He got robbed. He would have been fun because he's fun to watch.
He's fun to watch. He's been around for a long time too. Moving on to the light featherweight division, we had a final of Diego Pato Oliveira defeating Malachi Edmond via like a modified straight ankle, but on the inside.
Yeah.
So it's the new rule, and Diego is new rule for IBJJF. You can now attack on the inside for the footlock and the gi and no gi. And Diego Oliveira took that to heart and has been chucking that on the inside recently. And even the commentary, Jake Watson on commentary, did a great job, as per usual.
Yeah.
Love hearing Jake Watson break down these events. Diego is the one using that inside reap position, what formerly was a reap position, the most. And he's able to get Malachi's foot. And he's able to get a quick straight ankle lock versus Malachi. Diego is going to be a problem for everyone.
And it was fast.
Yeah.
It was.
Diego is now the Who's Number 1 55 champion after Dante Leon, who he heel hooked. He beat Baby Shark via injury.
Yeah. However that is.
Yeah, but he looked good in that match versus Baby Shark. And now he is your Pans champion, and he's also a world champion, and he's also like Diego Pato is going to be a problem for everyone this upcoming ADCC. His footlock game is at another level that we have not seen that before.
And he's
Plus
also
his Matrix guard.
And he's also in the AOJ camp, so it means he's just going to get better and better.
Pato is looking at a level that we have never seen him on before, especially to beat Malachi by submission quickly.
Yeah.
And we know how tough Malachi is. Wild. Featherweight finals, we had Kennedy Maciel versus Fabricio Andre. This was a lot of late scoring.
Yeah.
Very, very tactical match from both guys. I really loved Fabricio's activity early, but Kennedy shows us that like his wrestling is getting good.
Yeah.
And he's able to force Fabricio on the defensive towards the end of the match with like a modified single leg.
I was trying to figure out how Isaac Dotterland lost, and it's because he forfeited to Kennedy.
No, he got armbarred.
No, he forfeited to Kennedy.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're teammates now, because Dotterland's there. That makes sense.
Because Dotterland was doing a good job. Like, he was doing...
Yeah, Dotterland's looked awesome recently.
He looked great.
That makes sense. I thought about that, too, because I saw the podium. I was like, which one of those guys beat Dotterland?
Yeah, because his matches coming up to quarterfinals were really, really good.
Yeah. This match, 2-2, I think it was 2-2 points for Kennedy and Fabricio. It was a kind of a sit to butt from Fabricio Andre that he's able to re-sweep Kennedy on, and then they go back and forth. It was 2-2 advantages, and in the last sequence, Kennedy is driving a single leg and looking to take the back on Fabricio, gets an advantage after time expires, and wins it.
Yeah.
This was very much Fabricio's match at the beginning, very much Kennedy's match at the end, and he seemed to be taking the momentum.
Yeah.
Again, that's sort of what Kennedy has been doing recently. Like, he builds momentum.
Yeah.
Look at him at trials. Look at him at AIGA. Kennedy, he didn't win ADCC last time. Yeah. I can absolutely think he looks like a different guy. He got silver in 2019, taking his dad's spot that year. Dude's going to be a problem for under 66 kilograms at ADCC. Moving on to the lightweight division, we have Jackson the Guy defeating Nathan Chung via advantages. I don't really have much to say about the match. It was a very, very IBJJF heavy match. Jackson the Guy, only match that he doesn't sub.
Yeah.
Everything else was a sub in his entire bracket. He beats Michael Lira via armbar in the semifinals. He beats Richard Noguera by armbar in the quarterfinals. Like, the guy was looking really good, and he just is able to outplay Nathan Chung here in the quarterfinals for the men's lightweight division.
Or 76.
Yep. Under the men's middleweight division, Mika Galvao loves armbar and Andy Murasaki.
Yes, he does.
These guys keep ending up in the finals against each other, and Mika Galvao, last time these guys fought, Andy Murasaki put Mika on his butt, kind of made him play through the guard, put him in a little trouble.
Yeah.
This match, Mika Galvao immediately pulls guard on Murasaki, and then does the thing that is one of the positions I hate the most. He just pushes Andy Murasaki's arm across his body with the gi and then, like, shimmies to his back.
Yeah.
And if you basically do a punch down on the wrist that you're, like, controlling in the guard, the person in the gi can't square back up to you.
Yeah.
And it's this really weird sensation because you're trying to square into someone in front of you, but they're holding your arm across your body. And then eventually Mika Galvao is able to get the match to the ground. Murasaki does a phenomenal job for like a minute and a half or 2 minutes of stopping Mika Galvao from finishing taking his back. Eventually, Mika Galvao was able to get the back take. Like this, go back and watch. If you haven't seen this match, go back and watch both their Worlds match, or was it World or was it Euros?
Euros.
Their Euros match, and go back and watch this match because these two guys are really, really fun to watch against each other. But the way that he defends, that Murasaki defends Mika Givao from getting the back, very few guys in the sport are going to be able to defend that long.
Mika said, because Mika allegedly may have like broke his foot in his very first match of day one. Into day two, like at this match, he said at one point Andy turns back and grabs his foot to like try to get out of guard, and he said he like immediately had to he's like, I had to do something.
I had to make it happen, yo. And so Mika Givao hits basically a modified armbar off the top of the back mount.
Yeah.
We're kind of similar to what he got, not similar to what he got last time, but an armbar we've seen him hit numerous times before. Mika Givao by armbar. Beautiful match, beautiful defense here from Murasaki, and like definitely defense I would be going back and watching to see how he was.
The whole bracket was fun
to
watch, truthfully.
Yeah, but we knew this bracket. This bracket was going to be the hot fire bracket.
Well, it was also the smallest bracket because people were like, "Fuck that."
Yeah, it's like I got Murasaki and Mika Givao. Like, I'm good, bro. So Mika Givao wins that. Moving on to the men's medium heavyweight division, we had finals. We had Anderson Ferreira versus Mateus Rodriguez.
Anderson is doing he
a monster. He got that judo game.
He was killing some people. Like, dude, he was doing some good. He was fun to watch. He hits
a modified Harigoshi off a counter from Mateus Rodriguez. That is
a single leg
highlight.
Yeah, dude grabs a single and he's like, I'm just gonna throw you.
That really classic. Yeah. It's not technically a Harigoshi. It's a different throw in judo, but you
just kind of step over from them grabbing your leg.
But it's that
single
far step over. Like the Harigoshi is typically done at the low side foot, and you come over. This is a really long extended from a different gripping sequence as a counter to a single leg. Yeah. Beautiful. Anderson Ferreira gets robbed on the points. The crowd, as they should, boos on the reset because it's bullshit. And then eventually, towards the end of the match, Anderson Ferreira is able to take Mateus Rodriguez's back. And then he hits what I call the spicy bow and arrow from the back.
Yeah, it's the little modified one.
Yeah, it's the one. So I started throwing this like 6 or 8 months ago. It's the bow and arrow you do with your leg behind their head.
I learned this one from Kautera.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He taught it at a seminar.
It's a really, really great sub that you typically don't see at the heavier weight classes. So it's really cool to see Anderson Ferreira. And so what it is a bow and arrow choke. But if you don't have enough leverage on their pants and on their body to pull them away, you throw your leg, which actually from that position is a lot easier than you would think it is to get there.
Yeah.
I can only do it with my one leg because the other leg is bad because of the surgery.
Yeah.
But with the one leg, I can get it up there, and you can lever against the back of their head into the choke, and it is almost inescapable once you get there. And Anderson Ferreira locks it in with, I think, only like 4 seconds left. Or he throws it with 10 seconds left, and then Rodriguez taps with like 4 seconds left. And Anderson Ferreira, commentary picks it up. He was up on points.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do that, and he still puts a stamp on it at the end. And I appreciate, again, the judo from Anderson Ferreira. And I appreciate that he's like continually looking for the finish through all his matches. He's a guy we watched at BJJ Stars last year.
He had some crazy hair too.
Yeah, he's a fun guy to watch. We're gonna see more of him. He's really been on the AJP and the Brazil side for a long time. We are now seeing him in these U.S. events. Really cool to see him take Pans title.
Though I don't know if his Adidas gi will pass the
dumb new
gi
regulation for IBJJF.
That'll be interesting when that all comes into play.
Moving on to the heavyweight division, we have a final of Felipe Andrew versus Pedro Machado. Felipe Andrew beats Pedro Machado on 2 points.
Yeah.
Again, Felipe Andrew. This should have been Adam Wardzinski, but Adam Wardzinski got hurt.
Yeah, Pedro Machado took out Adam Wardzinski.
Yeah. And again, armbarred him in the semifinals, which is a really great performance from Pedro Machado. Pedro Machado absolutely is a phenomenal world level athlete, but I wanted to see the repeat match of Felipe Andrew and Adam Wardzinski. This was a bit slower paced match, but Felipe Andrew was very much in the driver's seat most of this match. Yeah. Scored early and then kind of rode his lead, as we've seen Felipe Andrew do. It's kind of been his prerogative, and we've seen him do that for years and years. On to the super heavyweight closeout.
Because it's Muniz versus Muniz.
It's both the brothers. The brothers close out. They're in mirrored gis, matching gis. It's kind of cool to see brothers close out. I wish they would do what the Ruotolos did and fight for it.
Yeah.
Because that's cool and that's gangster. But they close out. It's whatever. Moving on. I don't even know who gets it. I forget.
Yeah,
I forget which one of them gets it. I think he gave it to one of the Muniz brothers takes it. It's a closeout. It doesn't count. On to the men's ultra heavyweight final, we have Yotam Bueno defeating Gutenberg Pereira via penalty. This was kind of a weird penalty. Wasn't necessarily like a bad penalty.
Yeah.
But it was just, this was a very, I don't want to call it a nothing match, but not a lot of no big moments in the match. Really, it was just a very tactical heavyweight match. Pereira knew that he had the absolute finals later. Yeah. And so, like, he may have played this a little differently knowing he had that one match left in this tournament. He gets a penalty for inactivity from the guard, I think.
Yeah, from lapel.
Yeah, from the lapel guard. Yeah. And it was like, this is where I don't like the IBJJF the way they call the penalties.
My thing is, because I watched some matches and some gentlemen had, like, a guard with a lapel and they would be moving around and they wouldn't care. And then some would be doing the same amount of activity and they would start calling them for penalties. And my thing is, if they put you in it, like, I hate lapel guard. I will blatantly tell you I hate it with every fiber of my being. But as a passer, that is your job to pass that freaking thing. So if they do it to you, is it stalling? No, because you can't freaking pass.
Right.
Like, pass it. You know?
Yeah.
And so it's a weird, like, I
also
think they also don't
weirdly arbitrary a lot of times, and it's not consistent. My biggest issue is I have no issue with penalties being called. My issue always with the IBJJF has been consistency of how the rules are enforced for certain guys at certain teams at certain times with certain refs. There's a real lack of consistency, and it's a bit arbitrary for how things are called. I think, again, it's a fine penalty. It's a fine, Yotam Bueno takes this. It's fine to have him win that match. I like Gutenberg Pereira, like his game, but I think Yotam Bueno, in this rule set, it's a perfectly acceptable way to win the match. It's just, it is always odd to kind of guess when the IBJJF is going to call for penalties and not, because they don't tell you they're going to call penalties.
No.
Like, I like the ADCC will warn you for activity before they call penalties, because I think it extends the athletes a level of respect and consistency, so hey, this ref's calling a little quicker, I need to move so I don't get penalized, versus the IBJJF, like, they just decide penalties, sometimes seemingly at random, and it just gets a little frustrating.
And they can be super problematic at times.
Yeah. I think this was a fine match. It was just, I couldn't tell exactly. We're all kind of guessing at what level of lapel activity you need to have. Again, we've seen Gutenberg Pereira absolutely earn his penalties with inactivity. Like, go back and watch his match with Tim Spriggs, A Fight to Win. We've seen him earn his inactivities before, but it just kind of highlights another, like, big major tournament when we're kind of guessing it, like, well, maybe he did enough, maybe he didn't do enough. They said it was a penalty. Okay. Open class final, we have Gutenberg Pereira versus Marcus Ribeiro. Finishes by a choke from the back.
Yep. This was kind of fun because Pato was in here until quarterfinals.
Yeah, and Murasaki was in here too.
Yeah.
Actually, Murasaki got beat by Gutenberg Pereira in the quarters here.
Yeah. And Ribeiro beat Pato.
Oh, there it is. Okay. By shoulder pressure. Ooh, I need to watch that match. That looks terrible.
Yeah.
Beat him by shoulder pressure.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what it means.
Crossface. My man. It means crossface. It means, like, something was going to break, and you're against a heavyweight who's going to break you, and you're like, I'll tap.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Again, Gutenberg Pereira gets it. It's a pretty quick finish.
Yeah, Scooby, as they refer to him.
Yeah.
He does the most vicious, and I say it's vicious because they outlawed scissor takedowns for the fact that your knees get jacked, right?
Kane Basami, the jumping scissor takedown that is the knee exploder takedown.
So he does a guard pull into a scissor sweep. That is very similar to...
It is way safer because
he kicks the shit out of your legs.
Yeah. So the version of the takedown that he does, the sweep that he does, is way safer, because the biggest issue with the Kane Basami, with that jumping scissor leg, flying scissor leg takedown, is that all your weight is, if you fuck it up, all your weight's in their knee and explodes their knee.
I mean, I was watching him do it, and I was like, holy shit, because he
looks very similar.
He pulls, and as he pulls, he scissor sweeps you before you land. And, like, your legs just go out from under you.
I do a variation of this from the X guard.
Do you?
It's a little nicer, but I'm watching him do this, and I'm like, it's a good takedown.
I'm sure if you
sweep.
if you were in a tournament, you would do it this way because you're mean like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I am
but
too. So
I'm not good at
I can't really.
I'm not good at the variation that he does, but yeah, I do.
I feel like
very
if
similar.
Yeah, I feel like
variation.
if I tried that, I would somehow do it wrong, and they would just end directly in side control.
That is a risk you take, but
Yeah.
yeah, Perdetta finishes this via a choke from the back pretty quickly. Looked very dominant in the match. He takes the final for that open weight division. Moving on to the ladies. For the roosterweight division, we had a closeout for AOJ. In the finals there, we have Shelby Murphy and
Anna Lima.
Yeah, I think, because they don't have it highlighted here.
Yeah.
Closed out. I forget who takes it because it's a closeout and they don't count. Moving on to the light featherweight division, we had Maisa Bastos defeating Jessica Caroline via choke from the back. Good luck if you're not anyone named Maisa Bastos.
True.
Just kind of lawnmowers through.
Yeah.
Very dominant performance, racks up some points. I think she's already up either 6 or 13 points or something like that before she finishes with a choke from the back.
Yeah.
Very dominant performance. On to the female featherweight division, we have... BJJ Heroes does not actually have that. Apologies.
That's okay. You can go over to BJJEE.
BJJEE.
Give ladies.
Female featherweight. We had Luisa Campos defeats Mariana Nunes 10-2. That was on points for that one. Pretty dominant points performance there from Luisa Campos. This better be the right year.
It is.
Yeah, okay. It's 24.
We're good.
I don't use BJJEE a ton because it is an adpocalypse onto my machine, but the finding Pans results this year has been a struggle. Moving on to the female lightweight division, we have Joanna Libre defeating Sabrina Goldman via decision.
Libre's been beating the crap out of everyone.
Yeah.
Like she won Euros. She won Brazilian Nationals.
Yep. And in her quarterfinals and semifinals, she finishes both of those with submissions via chokes.
Yeah, she's on a tear right now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, look, we are absolutely seeing a ton of her and continue. She is a front runner to win worlds.
Yes.
So keep an eye out for her. Female middleweight division, we had Talitha Silva defeating Vanessa Griffith via 2 points. I think it was a takedown.
Yeah, I think it was too.
It was a guard pull intercept takedown from Griffith, and Talitha Silva gets the 2 points and then plays through. Not a huge amount of activity there. Griffith was really working from the guard the majority of the match, but it was Talitha Silva, doing enough on top, riding out the points, and playing the IBJJF game. Moving on to the female medium heavyweight division, we had a closeout from Dreamart, Ingrid Alves, and Marissa Vincente.
Wow, Maria Vincente had a walkover in quarterfinals, a walkover in semis, and then closes out in finals.
Mm-hmm. Medium heavyweight is a smaller division for the ladies.
Yeah, that's a interesting.
Elizabeth Mitrovic, on the other hand, had to win her quarterfinals match and then had to fight Ingrid Alves in the semifinals.
Yeah.
To take third there in that division.
Everybody else had walkovers.
Yeah. So moving on to the female heavyweight division, we have Isildur Silva defeats Thalana Silva via points 7-0. Very impressive performance here from Isildur. Again, in my eyes, another front runner.
Yes.
For Worlds. Very small division. Literally 3 matches total in the entire division.
Yeah.
It was a round robin.
Yeah.
With only 2 matches in the entirety of.
Yeah, because there's a walkover.
The division. Very small division. Female super heavyweight, we had Gabby Pisana defeating Marina Montero via choke from the back.
This is the normal Gabby Pisana.
Yeah, from the guard.
She pulls guard.
From the guard. She goes to the guard. She then takes you back from the guard with a modified sweep with the pant grip over. She either rolls you over or rolls you to the side with a modified overhead sweep. This was a modified overhead sweep. And then she takes you back, and then she chokes you from the back. Yeah. Would you say 100? How many matches straight?
161.
That's an absurd.
And they said
an absolutely absurd number.
And in this, they note that Mayara is a Master 2 athlete.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Mm-hmm. Making finals in the adult division is super impressive.
Yeah, super impressive.
Good luck anyone not named Ffion Davies beating Gabby Pisana.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm just curious how
someone's going to do it eventually.
Yeah, you got to
But we
do
learned one thing. It is that the female super heavyweight division is dominated by women named Gabrielle.
Yeah, that is true.
Gabrielle Garcia and then Gabrielle Persana. So, I am wondering in 10 years who the next Gabrielle to dominate the division will be. Open class, Gabriela Persona defeats Isilda Silva via straight ankle lock. Very quick straight ankle lock.
Yeah.
She kind of, from the guard, grabs it and goes. I watched what Pato did. I'm going to do the same thing. She finishes on this outside as opposed to inside.
She now finishes 119 matches unbeaten.
That is a crazy statistic.
I thought it was like 161 for whatever reason, but it's 119.
My question is, who's the last person to beat her? It's not a black belt. Probably not a brown belt.
I will Google this.
It's probably like a purple belt match. So, yeah, Persona is just absolutely a monster. So, that does it for IBJJF Pans. It was a major for IBJJF. Some good matches. I think a lot of the best matches were actually in the earlier divisions. Some of the finals left a little bit to be desired, but again, you did have matches like Mika and Diego, like those big finishes, and Gutenberg and Anderson. Like those were pretty highlight, and you should go back and watch all the matches that ended in finishes. They were actually some pretty exciting transitions. You should go back and watch those.
She has a loss to Anna Vieira at Pans.
Baby Vieira?
In 2021.
Okay, so like 3 years ago.
And she has a loss to Yara Suarez.
Yeah.
In 2021.
At weight class, that's the last person to beat her, I think, is Yara Suarez.
And then she has 3 other losses to Yara Suarez.
Yep. They were going back and forth for a minute. And
she has like 4 losses to
recently,
Yara
I think the last 3 years, she's never... I know for the last 3 years, like she's consistently beaten Yara Suarez.
When is the next BJJ bet? Because I want to say that's coming up soon. I don't want to miss it. Okay.
So now moving on to the pit submissions for Karate Combat. This was in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. We had Ethan Krallenstein versus Troy Worthen. Troy Worthen is a 1FC. He's a wrestler. 1FC fighter. He's a wrestler. He came in on 3 days' notice.
He did.
Because Ethan Krallenstein's previous opponent had a house break-in where all of his...
a car break-in.
Sorry, a car break-in.
Yeah. Oh, break-in... I say house.
Yeah.
I thought stolen from car. So, yeah, no.
So Miranda Snows threw me for a spin there.
I said 2 different things in there. I'm also typing as I'm watching at the same time, and it's pretty late at night at this point. So
if anyone doesn't know, this is a peek behind the curtain. The turnaround time for this show is like 12 hours.
Yes.
There are plenty of times where Pans happened yesterday 24 hours ago.
So
we then both worked a full day and then have come to do the show. So sometimes you're getting we don't release a lot of fight and analyst shows release like midweek, like Wednesday or Thursday. We give it to you Tuesday, and that it compresses our schedule a little bit. But 7 years of doing it on Tuesday, we're doing it Monday night essentially.
But anyway, so the other guy had his house broken into.
Yeah, so Troy steps up on 3 days' notice, and Ethan Krallenstein goes, "You're gonna need more than 3 days to beat me." This is actually a really interesting wrestling performance from Ethan Krallenstein because Worthen is actually a pretty decent and accomplished wrestler in his own respect.
He's also a black belt. He's also a prior 1FC fighter. I don't think he's fought for 1FC for a bit, but he was there, and that's what they needed.
Yeah, and you kind of see it's very funny. The president there for Karate Combat, a character in his own right, the owner of Goat Shed.
Yeah.
Basically, they have a video of them asking him to do it. He's like, "Look, he was here and he's good, so we'll have him do it." And then he was like, "Oh, it's just gonna be a guy." And then you realize that Worthen is actually pretty accomplished, and that was cool.
They did an interview with Ethan a couple days ago, and Ethan was like, "I don't know who I'm going against," and he's like, "I know the other guy's not coming, but I don't know who it is." And he was Ethan, like, "Okay." Yeah.
Really, really good snap down from Ethan. He eventually snaps Troy down, and then he goes to the back. He initially goes to a crucifix, then goes power half down, and then beautifully takes the back and gets a rear naked choke very quickly.
Yes.
Again, it's what we expect from Ethan Krallenstein. I think he is on a short list for ADCC invites. He is notably not doing trials.
Yeah.
But
he also looks like he's from the 1980s right now.
Yeah, he's got not a good mustache.
He's got
not my favorite.
He's got like my dad's mustache.
But Ethan also is a wild dude and will rock the mullet, will rock the mustache.
Yeah.
Like he's very much a character, and
he's Canadian.
I love the matches he puts on. No matter what he looks like, I'm going to enjoy his matches. But he takes this over Troy Worthen pretty quickly. Next match we had Gregor. Anything else?
Nope.
We had Gregor Gracie versus JZ Cavalcante. Gregor Gracie jumps the ghillie.
Yeah.
The arm in. I thought he was going to finish it, but Cavalcante is just a monster. Gets his head out eventually, but then Gregor Gracie just goes,
"I'm going to switch you over.
Nope.
I'm just going to throw you by your
goes
head."
to mount, goes to the back, and then hits
Do you say a thunder lock? Is that what
lightning lock.
A lightning lock.
Which is the lock that we see Elijah Dorsey hit a lot. It's it's you're on their back, and then you basically do the shoulder crank behind their head. for like the top side Americana essentially, but on the back, and you whip at the shoulder. We're seeing more and more guys do it recently.
I think because people reach back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like...
It's a good way to trap it. If you have really, really good back control, like a lot of the top guys in the world do, you can just get this free lock when they go to defend, and it's a lightning lock. I know it is a lightning lock because your arm looks like a lightning bolt.
Oh, that makes sense.
Or it maybe has another name origin, but that's what I thought it was.
I thought it was called Thunder or something, but maybe I'm completely wrong.
We can call it whatever we want.
Yeah, we can.
But that was that match. We also had Jillian Robertson main eventing the Karate Combat card versus Montana De La Rosa. Jillian Robertson puts on a phenomenal top position grappling performance on De La Rosa, which kind of what we thought. Again, Jillian Robertson has some of the most submissions. I think the most submissions in that division in the UFC.
She does.
You see she has a beautiful top position half guard game, which if you're going to throw elbows and strikes on someone, is what you want. Usually in MMA, that will force the back take, which is where Jillian Robertson makes a lot of her hay, and in the transition for the arm bars. But because it's just a straight-up grappling match, there's less movement here. But Jillian Robertson is cemented on top of Montana De La Rosa the entire time, and that's the entire match.
That is the match.
So
that was a fun card.
It was a fun card. I love Karate Combat. Like those dudes, Boss Rutan, Josh Palmer, President, like all those dudes look like they're putting on a wild and entertaining show, and I want to go. Craig Jones talked about how good it was. Like now they're doing grappling stuff. They're doing mixed rules. Like, well, it looks awesome.
I'm curious how they're gonna do it in Abu Dhabi, because I don't know if you can act the way you act when you're in Abu Dhabi. Don't you have to behave a little bit more?
A little bit, but we'll see. I'm excited to see.
I don't know if you can have chicks in little bikinis running around drunk.
I don't know, but we will see. Karate Combat has really again, I really enjoy talking about Karate Combat. Again, I think Josh Palmer is one of the best commentators in the business, so it's awesome to hear him commentate. Was a longtime Cage Warriors commentated ADCC, a bunch of grappling matches, used to be the Polaris commentator, brings great commentary. Boss Rutan is also there on commentary, providing great commentary. So really love what Karate Combat is doing. As long as they keep putting on more grappling matches, we'll continue to talk about them. So that does it for the recap section of the show. Okay, let us move into the ADCC Trials preview. So this section is going to go, we have 950 athletes. We are absolutely not going to talk about all of these athletes. They are across the 3 women's weight classes and the 6 men's weight classes. So we are going to run through the biggest names that are in these divisions as the order that they are in the smooth comp phase, try to give you some information about the people that we are kind of paying attention to in these divisions. Miranda and I are going to go back and forth on it. With huge divisions like these, we usually don't preview them, but we got some requests to preview it from a couple of people that left comments on it and shot us DMs, so I appreciate always hearing the feedback from the people that listen to the show on what you want us to preview, because we make the show for us, but also for y'all. And so we are going to run through as best we can the highlight names here and try to give everyone some context for the folks to look out for in these divisions. But we are going to miss people because there are almost 1,000 people entered. We're going to do the best that we can, but we also have no bracket. So we have no idea where these folks are going to line up. We have seeding, but I think this seeding is just based on
points.
By points.
It's not proper. It's not complete proper seating, because there's people.
Ethan and Keith aren't seated, or sorry, Keith isn't seated, and J-Rod isn't, former trials
what's
winners.
What's it called? Isn't seated. Tammy isn't seated.
Yeah, Tammy was actually from world champ. There are some people that are definitely going to get top 5 seeds that are not seeded. So this is just by ADCC points. If you've been doing the ADCC Opens, this is how your points are. But again, if you look at the breakdown, we're not going to run through their seeding. But generally speaking, we enter a new division. The top 25 people in some divisions, the top 10 people in other divisions are seeded. So the first people we read from the division are the people that have the most points in that division. Yeah. So without further ado, Miranda, anything else I've forgotten?
I don't think so. All
right, moving on to the women's under 55 kilogram division. Jasmine Hocha, former trials medalist. Multiple time, I think.
She's won a bunch of opens.
Yeah, won a bunch of opens. Wagner Hocha's only daughter.
Yeah.
Phenomenal black belt. Had a tough match against Ffion Davies recently, but very much she's 22 years old. She's very much a prospect on the rise. It would not surprise me to see Jasmine win one of these trials, if not this trials, in next year. She is probably very secured as top number 1 or 2 seed, especially because she was in the finals last trials.
Yeah.
Like, she's on the level. Alex Enriquez, also in the finals of last trials.
Yes.
Won last trials.
Yes, she did.
Versus her partner, who is also in the division, Faye Charrier.
Yeah, which...
They went against each other in the semis, the quarters.
Semis, I want to say they went against each other because it was the first time we had a couple actually have to battle it out.
Yeah. Phenomenal couple out of Atos, Atlanta. Both two of the top-ranked women in this division.
Yeah.
Look for them to make podium spots and to make big runs throughout their entire division. We don't actually have the number of entrants in each division. We haven't counted them up. We're just not able to do that. But these are big divisions this year. Trinity Pun. She's out of New Wave now.
Yes, she is.
Formerly out of Orange County Jiu-Jitsu. Not Orange County.
No, Orange County.
No, she was out of.
No, it was Orange County. It was Orange County Fight Club. No, Orange County.
I'm getting it wrong. Trinity Pun is very highly ranked, 18 years old, out of New Wave now. She's been someone that's been on our radar for many years, and she's just now turning 18. That should give you an idea and a thought for how good she is. She was in trials as a 15-year-old, as a 17-year-old, like looking very, very good. Wouldn't surprise me to see her take a trials or at least knock out some big names here. Cindy Ung from Team Balance, my association, out of Philly.
She was third.
Yep.
At the last North American Trials.
26 years old, very, very strong competitor.
Yes, very much so.
Amanda Bruce is in this division from Atos. Jessica Crane. So you stop me. I'm just going to run through the rest of the names.
Okay.
You stop me when you have stuff to say, because this segment will be an hour and a half long if we let me run too long. Jessica Crane is also in here. My Nguyen is also in here from Standard BJJ. We've talked about Faye Charrier in here. We have Bree Stick. We have Sofia Castella.
Yeah, she's been she's been competing for a long time. She's tiny and just like vicious as hell.
Yeah.
So
she's out of Garatonin gym.
Yeah. She's very, very good. Bree Stick we know from Combat Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, that's okay. That's what she won.
Yeah, she wins Combat Jiu-Jitsu. She's I mean, she has a mean palm strike to your face.
MMA fighter.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, very good MMA fighter. Okay. We have Lauren Sears from 10th Planet here, out of 10th Planet Austin. We have, let's see, I'm gonna run through. If you see names, I'm not saying. We have Mona Bailey in here. Haven't seen Mona compete in a bit here. Oh, competed a ton as a juvenile. Yeah. And was a very, very prolific juvenile competitor. She's done trials maybe once before, but she was someone that we were really looking to have her enter into adult competition. It'd be really cool to see her there. We have Angela Hill, UFC fighter.
She does IBJJF sometimes because she went against somebody I knew. First round in, I think it was Nogi Worlds, and it was like, oh, I'm sorry about your luck.
Yeah, Angela's a very, very good grappler. We also have Tammy Musumeci from Pedigo now. I'm curious if she's going to train to Cabrinha as well.
Yeah, true. I didn't think about that.
Tammy Musumeci, absolutely been to the World Championships before, beaten many of the top women in the world, is one of the top women in the world, consistently fights in 1FC. Not much more to say about Tammy Musumeci, another big front runner in that division. We have Nikki Sullivan.
That's what I was about to say.
Out of 50-50 martial arts. She used to be out of Atos.
Oh, she's out of 50-50 now?
Yeah.
Does she train down there?
I don't know, but she's listed as 50-50.
That's interesting.
For years was out of Atos.
Yeah.
And those are the biggest names that I can see that are in the women's under 55 kilogram division. If we miss people, we are looking at a list of 950 people. It's going to happen. No disrespect to those athletes. Yeah. We're just literally looking at a list of 1,000 names. Women's under 65 kilogram division. Helena Kravar, ranked number 1, out of New Wave. Recently taken big levels of step up in competition.
She is sort of your person to beat.
She's your front runner. She got second at the last trials.
Yeah, her and Mo Black.
Yep. Mo Black also in this division. Morgan Black out of Taz BJJ. Won trials last time. We have Micah Vickers here from Jonnatas Gracie Austin, which is the New Wave camp. Yeah.
She does very well. She does a bunch of opens. Yeah. I think I went against her. I'm not positive.
I think so.
I think I went against her.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then we have Ashlyn O'Connell. I went against her too. I went against her at trials. She is vicious. Anyway, and she's out of the northeast, Portland area.
Yeah.
And she does both combat jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu, and she always like puts on a really good showing.
We have Shayla Lindsay in this division. We have Brittany Johnson in this division. We have Layla Watkins in this division. We have Stephanie Klein in this division. We have Molly Zabrowski in this division out of Daniel Gracie and Hensel Gracie. We have Nicole Matthews is also in this division. We've seen her against Peyton Letcher and a bunch of other folks in that weight class. And again, you stop me.
Lauren Butler Jones from B Team.
Oh yeah,
we see her in the finals a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
She trains out of B Team, which I didn't know. That must be a new thing.
I love how they have this. They have this all laid out. You can really see.
They'll have all the weights in there too.
Yeah, I'm excited to see all the weights because that's always really interesting to see. Like, oh, they're 15 pounds underweight. Yeah, that's good to know. But again, everyone here is under 65, so most of them are going to sit about in that range. Those are the big names that are in this division. Women's plus 65 division. We have Bridget McLeese from Hensel Gracie. She's ranked number 1 with her points there. We have Diana Rooney in that division. We have Elizabeth Mitrovic, who we saw this last weekend at Pans in her division, very highly ranked as well.
We have Christina Hansen.
Yep, John Hansen's wife, John Hansen, former trials winner, is also in the men's plus 99 division. This is his wife. Let's see. We have Jennifer Case in that division. We have Sarah Swatek in that division from Flow State. Aaron Harp is in this division. Let's see. Brittany Elkin, Big Bird. Yep. Former Fight to Win champion at brown belt, prolific competitor for years and years. MMA fighter. She was both Clarissa Shields and Kayla Harrison's debut MMA opponent. Like, that is Brittany is a gangster for taking both of those matchups as a debut.
She's a rough roll. I rolled with her multiple times. She is a rough roll. Yep. See, it's Ocean County.
It is Ocean County BJJ. That's what it was. That's where Trinity Pine used to be out of. Jaden Mueller is also out of this. Again, another Fight to Win person we've seen for years and just has elevated her level of competition and has looked really, really good as of recently.
And Amanda
Lev. 2-time women's plus 65 kilogram trials winner.
She kind of butchered everybody at the last trials.
Yeah, this looked like Amanda Levy's division last time. I'm hoping I'm still working on trying to fix the audio from the interview I did with her. I hopefully we'll be able to get it fixed, but it's bad. Look for Amanda Lev in this division. I think she is your front runner in this division.
Yeah,
by no small.
Her and Bridget were the finals.
Yeah, and she submitted Bridget.
Yeah.
Amanda is a clear front runner here. She's done it twice. Very few women have won 2 trials. She's done it twice. She also beat Gabby Garcia.
Yeah.
Like, remember that. Men's advanced under 66 kilogram division. We have DeAndre Corbray in this division from Standard BJJ. You know him, competes all the time. I've commentated a bunch of his matches with the Copa Series locally. Very, very good athlete. Always makes day 2. Him and his brother both. I think his brother's in this division. Yep. Gavin Corbray is in this division as well. Also from Standard. Oh, shit. Gavin's the older one? I thought DeAndre was the older one.
No, DeAndre is the older one.
DeAndre, okay. Thank you.
He was born in 95 and 99. Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Both those brothers are
a little late in the day.
Phenomenal. Are phenomenal athletes. I really would love to kind of see them
go against each other.
I would love to see it. I love to see it. Brother, I love brother fights.
They were close to each other.
They were one round away from last time, and then I forget who got beat, but they were one round away.
Somebody beat them both.
I think in 2 trials.
Somebody beat them both.
Dominic Mejia beat them both.
Yeah. That was what it was.
Like 2 trials ago, West Coast trials, they were 1 round away.
Yeah.
This last one, I think they were a round away as well.
Yeah.
We have Andrew DeGraff in this division from New Wave. We have Richard Alarcon.
Yeah.
I think Richard Alarcon is a former trials winner. He's been to ADCC before.
Yeah.
Either as an inviters or trials winner. Dominic Mejia out of New Wave Jiu-Jitsu. I interviewed him.
Yeah.
He got second as versus Dorian Olivares at the last trials. Like, he is, again, one of your top seeds in this division for his trials performance last time. Yeah. Seeing him seated in the top 5 is a guarantee.
And Reese Lefevre.
Yeah, Reese Lefevre is also here from New Wave as well. Yeah. We have Jordan Holy, who we see everything more.
Is it Holy or Holly?
I've said Holly. I've said Holy. I think it actually is Holy.
Holy? Okay.
I think it is Jordan Holy.
Okay.
Prolific competitor. been on everything. Very good leg locker.
We have Esteban Martinez.
Esteban Martinez, our guy, is in here. Esteban Martinez
he's always a good time.
Always a good time. He has a really, really action-friendly style. He has a really great crucifix game. He has a really good cartwheel pass.
And
watch him versus Mikey Musumeci.
He's like impossible to put down.
Yeah, he's unless you are in an absolute, which Esteban will do.
Yeah.
As a guy that is smaller than me, probably under 145.
Yeah.
He will
he'll go against big. He'll go into
absolutes and
yeah.
he'll do very, very well.
Yeah.
He's in this division. We have Dylan Cameron in this division from Zapatero. We have Joey Dial in this division as well. We have, let's see, Johnny Grippo. I didn't see that earlier when I looked through this. And CJ Murdoch in this division. And his brother Josh Murdoch from Pedigree.
Yeah.
So both those guys are in there. Johnny Grippo, I think, is a former Trials winner.
I think so.
Trials medalist at least. I think he's won Trials before. But I know he has medaled.
Didn't he win the one year that they created the Johnny Grippo rule?
No, he got beat by Abate that year.
Oh,
he
did.
Krikorian and him went against each other, I think. And then Krikorian beat him, and then Abate beat Krikorian. I think is how that year shook out. Yeah, the Grippo rule, where Anthony Burchak spiked him, and that was the last time you could do that because we went, maybe guys will die.
Yeah.
It's legal, but maybe it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And we changed the rule.
Johnny Grippo killed him afterwards.
He
it was an immediate, I will kill you.
He
now.
was upset. Reasonably. Let's see. Also in this division, this is a big. Again, the men's 66-77 divisions are
Jeff
big.
Reel.
Yep, from Atos HQ. Scott Dance is also from District Martial Arts. He's a guy I see a lot because I frequently do commentary for Copa Virginia, like Zach and I did this last weekend. We also have Keith Roberts from Hensel Gracie Portland.
We have a guy with a Naga picture.
Hell yeah, Naga picture guy. Josh Barker. Hell yeah. We also have, I'm looking for, Krikorian's in here. I'm looking for him. I can't find him in this giant list.
Diallo Braithwaite.
Diallo Braithwaite's in here. He did really good last time. He is a guy to watch out for. He's a guy that's won absolute here locally. Younger guy out of Big Brothers in the lab. Really interesting competitor. And he's a guy on the rise here locally in a big, big way. Here on the East Coast. God, there's so many people in this division. This is wild. Barry Yoshida. 48 years old. 1975. Been to ADCC. Has some of the most ADCC matches in the world. Still out there doing the Opens and Masters. Is hopping into this to do the trials.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Watching Barry Yoshida get the invite would not surprise me.
It would be
because he's doing trials. Barry Yoshida, he just got in the Hall of Fame. Literally, his Hall of Fame picture
is what
for 2022 is what he is using as his SmoothCon picture.
Of course he is.
Good for him, man. Barry Yoshida is one of my favorite dudes. I'm going to go out there and do a seminar. Ricky Lule is in here from 10th Planet Freaks as well. Really good 10th Planet wrestler on the smaller side. He had a match with Nicky Ryan years and years ago that was Nicky Ryan had to beat him in order to face Gio Martinez. Because Gio Martinez was like, you got to beat him before you face me. And that was Ricky Lule. Renee Lopez is also in this division. Anthony Burchak is in this division. Really good wrestler out of 10th Planet Tucson, Arizona. Former UFC fighter. OG in fight sports.
Slow down a little bit.
I just keep scrolling. There's so many people. AJ Agazarm.
Yep.
Former silver medalist at ADCC proper. Also in this division. Finally in under 66.
Yeah.
He's not doing 88 or 99. He's actually doing the weight class that he should be in.
He belongs in.
Yeah. He is now out of Gracie. He's still out of Gracie Barra.
He is, but he trains a lot with the Meows and the Ruotolos. He jumps around a lot. He hangs out with all the dudes.
Yep. Danny Lyons is also in here from Zapatero. Damian Anderson from B Team is in this division. He was the weighed-in alternate for 66. He got third at the West Coast Trials last year. So he is, again, another front runner in that division. Has been making the transition over to MMA, but it still looks very, very good as of recently and has those skills to put him on the podium at Trials. We have... I swear it wasn't this big. We have Fabian Ramirez, rep in Ecuador. Fabian, where's the guy that wears the sailor hat?
The guy that
wears the sailor hat. He was on Who's Next. Really, really has put himself levels above in the last couple of years.
With Rao. So
Yeah, Jason Rao's guy. Joshua Flores from the same academy from Vanguard
he's
as well.
16, and he is real good.
Yep. Nick Saff is in this division from 10th Planet Decatur. Gabriel Daffron, Duck Jitsu, is in there. One of the most flexible guys at 66, like competitor forever. He's going to be on the smaller side of this bracket. He's really like a 35 or 25er.
Yeah.
But he can bulk up and he'll do these divisions. We have Valor Boyer from Movement Arts Jiu-Jitsu.
He was the finals match against Zhao Miao this weekend.
Yep. Yeah.
There's Keith Krikorian.
And Keith Krikorian there.
He's Armenia.
Yeah, he's Armenian.
I did not know that.
He reps Armenia. He has the American passport.
Yeah,
His American passport, he's a North American guy. He's a U.S. guy, but he reps Armenia on Smooth Comp. Also, his coach, Gia Martinez, is in this bracket. Longtime ADCC staple. Slammed Jeff Glover unconscious a couple ADCCs ago in 2015. Been to ADCC, done trials for many, many years. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think he's done trials in a while.
I haven't seen
him and his brother are both in trials.
Oh, okay.
Boogie's up in one of the heavier weight classes. Let's see. Elias Anderson is here from Kyotera. Kevin Hughes is here from 10th Planet as well.
Well, this is the weekend before, so everybody has to get their name in right now.
Right. So that's what we got for 66. 241 people in that division. That division caps at 256, by the way.
Yeah.
So almost fully capped division. Men's 77 kilogram division. Former trials winner John Combs. Former trials winner Oliver Taza. Beat European trials. John Combs won.
Andy Varela, how the fuck is he making 77?
Always. We do this.
He just looks so cute.
Every time.
He looks so big.
It's somebody in the finals versus Andy Varela, and you're like, how the fuck did he make 77? Because
Yeah.
everyone else is struggling to make 77. And then you see Varela also at 77, and he's 3-4 inches taller, 4 or 5 inches wider.
Yeah, he's
like
just a
his
big...
finals match at West Coast Trials,
Yeah.
he was versus Barch, right?
Yeah.
We went, how the fuck did Varela make 77?
Well, he lives right there, so it's not like
Yeah.
he's traveling. He gets to stay close.
Yep. Varela is enormous. And so, again,
And he's
former
a
trials
freaking
medalist.
beast.
And he's a beast, and he has a
Yeah.
whole team of kids that are just also beasts in the
Yeah.
ADCC system. Another guy to watch out for is Jet Thompson, 17-year-old at a Watkins Wrecking Crew. We haven't really had a chance to talk about him a ton. He's a 17-year-old kid. I've got a couple messages about people telling me to watch him.
Okay.
So he's the guy to watch out for. We have Pierre Olivier Leclerc out of B Team, also out of TriStar for years and years.
Michael Lira at Baltos.
Michael Lear at Atos. We have Joshua Dawson out of Gracie Barra, Texas. Michael Sains out of Alpha Miami. Jonathan Wilson, Chase Vaughn, Ernesto Riviera from American Tot Team in Atlanta, the main ATT camp. We have Kyle Chambers at 10th Planet Freaks. Who's next? Semifinalist.
I guess it is a semifinalist.
Or silver medalist.
Yeah.
Who's next semifinalist?
I don't know. He had the longest match known to man.
He did have the longest match with Isaac Michelle, also a trials winner. Tristan McDonald in this division. We have Cade Sistos as well from Wagner Hosha. He's a guy to watch out for. And then we have
Nick Ronan.
Yep, Nick Ronan out of Vanguard.
Yeah.
One of Matt Serra's, not Matt Serra, Jason Rao.
Jason Rao.
Off and on for years. Really, really good top contender.
I mean, they're all in that same area. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't jump over to his school too.
Ivan Herrera, the guy that Tynan went against, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think the guy that Tynan went against is also jumping in this division. We have Mateo Martinez from Miami Grappling in this division. This is going to be Harrison Woods from Canada. I don't think it's the same Harrison Woods that just did Polaris, but it might be.
Okay.
Again, it's a picture of a cat for his smooth comp. I do not know. Let's see. We're only at 77 kilos for this. Kieran Kachuk from B Team.
Yes.
Is in this division. Again, look for him to be a front runner in this division. He's done really well at trials. We have Max Hansen. From Pedigo Submission Fighting. We just talked about him this week versus versus Espen.
Yes. And Ben Eddy.
Yep, Ben Eddy, known for the Hindilotine, is in this division as well. Long-time trial staple, usually makes day 2, usually submits a lot of guys. If you can't deal with his rubber guard, he is going to submit you. We have Silvio Bodoni, which is Giancarlo's brother, also fighting at a new wave. He's done ADCC Opens before and kind of knows the format, so it'd be interesting to see.
He did that one in-house thing that one tournament that was in like Miami. That was like a benefit. It was in a fight sports.
Okay.
It was a money bracket. His brother wound up winning, or his brother lost. Maybe it was an absolute bracket
In the finals, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've seen him. We've talked about him before.
Yep. Again, he trains in a New Wave, and he is the brother of under 88 kilogram champion Giancarlo Bodoni, who's looked like a monster recently. You know he's getting better in that room. This is just a giant. I think this division's been filled for like almost a month at this point, or at least a couple weeks.
Renee Souza.
Yep, Renee Souza is in this out of 10 Planet Bethlehem. He did both the South American trials and the trials.
Andrew Tackett.
He's again. This is, I think, who everyone thinks is going to win.
You think so?
This is who I have been hearing everyone thinks is going to win.
Oh, okay.
Because Andrew Tackett was injured before East Coast trials, so he couldn't do East Coast trials, and everyone was like picking him to win, and then he was injured, and now he's back. Hopefully he's healed up enough so that he can perform well, because he is, again, on everyone's short list to beat everyone.
We have Ronaldo Sampson.
Yep.
Is that Ronaldo Jr., right?
Where you at?
Right, Ronaldo. That's Ronaldo Jr., right?
Oh, I think it is. Yep, that's Ronaldo Jr.
Atos, yeah.
Yep.
I always forget his last name. Dory Ayoun, we saw him recently.
Yeah.
I forgot what we saw him. Oh, he was in IBJJF. He was in Pans this weekend.
Yep. Dory Ayoun is in there. Jonathan Satava is in here. Former trials winner from Marcelo Garcia. Won trials back a while. Like,
he opened his own school down in like Texas, I want to say.
I don't remember where he did, but yeah,
he did.
Texas sounds right. Yeah, former trials winner, one of the craziest guillotine guys in the division. Caleb Tackett, which is Andrew William Tackett's youngest brother. I think youngest brother. I don't think there's a younger one. I think he is the youngest one. 16 years old out of Fight Factory, Croatia. That's interesting. Probably just having a good time.
I think that's a mistake, but
it's probably having a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, look out for him. We've talked about him a little bit on the show. I'm really curious to see how Caleb does. Yeah. Dylan Garofalo is in this as well from Vanguard. We talked about him for a couple of years on the show now. Frances St. Amar is in this. Joshua Ramirez is in this from Stout Fight. And then Majid Haig.
Yep.
From Surf Fight. Majid always doing both of them.
Yep. Bill Cooper.
And Diego Sanchez. A different Diego Sanchez. I thought,
Yeah, that's a different one.
Bill DeGro Cooper is also in this from Paragon. I think Bill won trials before.
Yeah, I think so. A long time ago.
Back in the 2000s.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah,
because I remember us having this conversation.
Yeah, this is a division of 242.
Yes.
Men's 88 kilogram division. Abraham Lamontague is from New Wave Jiu-Jitsu. Montagna. I can never say his name.
Montagna.
Give me his name.
Montagna.
Abraham
Montagna.
Montagna. Is the number one seed here from New Wave Jiu-Jitsu. We have Yepi Tomasan from Six Blades in here. We have Elder Cruz, multiple-time Open winner, multiple-time ADCC Division winner, multiple-time ADCC Trials medalist, and ADCC World contender before. Look out for Elder here. We have Ryan Aiken in this division from 10th Planet Atlanta. Very interesting game. Gives a lot of guys a lot of trouble.
Kevin
Burbridge from 10 Planet Freaks. Again, longer guy in the 10 Planet system. We have Steph Martinez as well, who we've seen on Who's Number One before. Had some good matches. Zach Gaiani from 50-50. Local guy to us. Competes a ton. Very frequent competitor. Ranked number 8 in the division.
Benji Silva.
Yep. Benji Silva from Kyotera. One of the older guys in the division, but also find him on Who's Number One. He's put on some really, really great performances. Got an amazing squeeze and really puts guys away in interesting ways with that squeeze.
Sam Kilmer.
Yep. Local guy to us. TLI. But I've commentated a bunch of...
Yeah, fights all the time, all over the place.
Beat the shit out of me years ago.
Did he?
Yep. When he was a juvenile and I was a grown-ass man. And, just absolutely mopped me at a local tournament. And I've went on to commentate a bunch of his wins for, like, Opens and Absolutes and watched him win cash prize divisions here locally. Plays a really, really diligent passing game where he will force you into make a mistake. He will sit in a knee cut and he will force you to make a mistake, and he will play there the entire weekend.
That's the TLI. That's the TLI way.
We have Shania DeMarco in here from Bergen County Jiu-Jitsu.
David Garmo.
David Garmo from Assembly. got again an amazing squeeze and really improved his wrestling. Go back and watch his match with Rolando Sampson.
Yep.
Rolando Jr. from Atos at the World Finals. We were at European Finals. I think European Finals.
I think it was European Finals. It's the one where
Nogi. No, it was Nogi Worlds.
Nogi Worlds because they go through the TV.
They go through the TV. Yep.
Yeah.
David Garmer has just looked phenomenal and getting better and better recently. We also have in this division
Jay
Rodriguez, former ADCC Trials champion,
Yep.
won a submission via buggy choke at the last West Coast Trials over Hunter Colvin. You think that he's potentially injured?
He seems the way they were acting towards him acted like he was injured, but I don't know how much he also likes to kind of play up injuries.
Yeah.
So who knows? But on the show, they were acting like he was injured, but they were still acting like he was going really hard too. So I don't know what that means.
Either could be true.
We
have
it
the guy he went against, Hunter Colvin, also in this division. They got silver in that. It was beating him up until he got submitted by the end. We have Clay Mayfield in here from Patago as well. Let's see. We have Michael Bakerfield from 10th Planet. We have...
It's always interesting the pictures people pick.
Yeah, people pick really interesting pictures for their smooth comp. I do appreciate most people actually give a real picture.
Yeah.
Like, I do really appreciate. It's always really annoying when you're trying to find a guy and he doesn't have a picture of him.
Like
you're
like cat picture. Achilles Hosha.
Wagner Hosha's youngest son.
Yeah.
Only son. Has looked really good recently, but had odd performances at a couple of trials where it's just like he hasn't looked in his best form. So I'm curious if they get that together in this trials.
Do you see who's directly above him?
Evan Levy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Amanda Levy's younger brother, who I thought was a heavyweight. And Amanda's like, oh, no, he lost like 90 pounds. And now he's doing MMA a lot more. He's at New Wave Jiu-Jitsu. But, again, he's a guy that we need to watch out for. He didn't know. I remember him when he was a child. But now he's in his early 20s, and he looks very different from when I remember seeing him prior. Chris Dempsey's in here from Matt Factory, former UFC fighter. Let's see. Who else we got?
Jason Rao
and William Tackett. And Sean Fitzpatrick from Fight Factory. That is a hell of a guy. We also have Daniel Smith from Atos in this division. William Tackett is a front runner for this division. He's a former West Coast Trials winner for ADCC.
Jason Rao had a really good performance at East Coast Trials and had that really weird call. Remember he went out of bounds. There was some kind of out of bounds push. Like the ref pushed him and shouldn't have pushed him or something like that. But Jason Rao looked really good his last performance. Yep.
So look for both of those guys, Rao and Tackett, to do big things in this division. Either of those guys could take it. We also have Angelo Claiborne from TLI. His teammate Elijah Dorsey won 77 kilograms during the last one. The TLI guys always come out with a really, really good game plan and, can stick to it. We also have Chris Rojic from B Team. He's a guy that's been getting a lot of buzz recently, and the B Team guys know how to put guys on podiums. Usually in second place. Quentin Rosenwig is at a 10th Planet Savannah, is a just frequent competitor, been around for a really long time. Got a really unique squeeze, is the catch wrestling world champion, and will just generally compete in a lot of different stuff, and is always a force in these divisions. Nick Ortiz is also here from 10th Planet Las Vegas. Let's see. Maxim Cote is here as well. Canadian guy that we see compete really frequently.
Sloan climber. Had the best hair of the whole entire tournament.
He did out of Legion. He's one of Keenan Cornelius's black belts that's really made a name for himself as a brown belt. Caveman, ridiculous squeeze. Pretty good game planning. We've seen him on Main Event for Fight to Win. A bunch of other stuff over the years. Always a force in whatever division, especially in Nogi, that he's in. Caleb Crump is in this division from High Altitude Martial Arts, MMA fighter, but also frequently in these tournaments as well. Let's see. And we have so overall that's a division of 177 people. It's still a
big division.
Yep.
And I think they still have until Wednesday.
I think they have right up to the end.
Up to the end. Okay.
I mean, it's this weekend, so I think they have until Wednesday. Men's under 99 kilogram division. We have Dashi Goto from Web MMA. We have Brandon George. We have Benjamin Stoltz
Brian Guevara.
Brian Guevara from Standard Jiu-Jitsu. We've seen him. I've talked to him a lot. We've interviewed him
everywhere.
Yeah, he's a local guy to us.
Whenever I'm at a tournament, I see him.
Brian is all around. I've commentated a bunch of his matches for Copa Elite, Copa Virginia. He's won a bunch of the cash prize divisions down here. He's a guy that's really on the grind. He's put up great performances at the Opens and in the trials before, and is a really interesting guy to talk to about like how he prioritizes his training with the guys over there at Standard. We have Troy Mercer from Patago as well.
Steve Jocham from Web MMA.
Or as well, the finishers champion.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job. He's been heel hooking the shit out of everybody.
Yep. Adam Bradley, who's now at B Team.
Yeah.
I thought he was at Atos.
He's been at B Team for a minute.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Adam Bradley, like really long time frequent competitor.
Yeah. Has a great mustache.
Has a great mustache.
Has a curly mustache.
Has beef with Gordon, and I think is what made him most famous for most people, but is a very frequent, very good competitor that we've been covering since brown belt. It's cool. I will be interesting to see him at B Team. I'm curious to see how he looks with that change of camp. Devontae Johnson, now representing Bones Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but formerly Unity. Bones is an offshoot of Unity, and so
he just opened up his new school. Within the last few years.
We just talked about how good the guys at Unity are with their pressure, and Murillo, and like Devontae is absolutely a guy we've seen podium numerous times at trials. Right? Yeah.
He's always in at least semis.
He's always in the mix and always there, just giving everyone just an amazingly difficult time trying to deal with him. We have Derek Flagg as well, representing Antarctica. I love that you can do that.
Okay.
We've been covering Derek since he was a purple belt.
You can represent Antarctica?
Apparently you can.
I want to represent Antarctica.
Derek Flagg hit what we called back then a reverse scorpion deathlock. It was a modified underhook Kimura when you were sitting side to side with someone.
Oh.
He hit that one of the original sub-spectrums.
I try that on people all the time just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, but he has really turned into an amazing competitor over the last couple of years, representing Midwest. Henzo Gracie, Des Moines, Iowa. We also have Elliot Kelly, wrestler, former NCAA champion, I think. Former trials winner is in here. Has the most pixelated picture of anyone in the entire speed camp comp section. Michael Pixley is here representing Patago. Really good wrestler, very tall guy. Corbin Crisp from Brothers Jiu-Jitsu, the same camp that Hunter Colvin is out of. Let's see.
Whatever happened to the other Crisp? The other Crisp disappeared?
We missed him, I think, earlier.
Oh, did we?
Like Crisp, yeah.
Oh, man.
Joseph Cropshot is in here. Yeah, he's cool to watch. Yeah. Let's see who else we have in this division. Richie Martinez. Boogie Martinez is in here. Gio Martinez's older brother. Most famous for getting leg locked by Craig Jones at Quintet. But also a very, very good competitor in his own right. Been on the Superfight card scene for forever and absolutely is, the 10th Planet guys really push as one of the top coaches in that organization that put guys on podiums. Adrian Nez is also here as well. Brian Orton is here from Subhounds.
Dwayne Johnson, but not the Dwayne Johnson we're talking about.
Yep, different one. We also have Colin Sabano from Atos, and that is a division of 87. In the plus 99 division, Brailer Grout, number 1 from Legion. Yeah. He is a handful for anyone he gets a hold of.
Yes.
Also number 2, John Hansen.
He's
former
also,
Trials winner.
Yeah.
Beat the shit out of Zach when we went out and trained with him. Again, we're huge fans of John Hansen. It's really cool to see him. He now represents Patago. John Hansen is the reason why guys yell 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because him and his camp started doing that at trials, and other camps went, oh, we're going to do that too.
Yeah.
And John Hansen has some of the best point racking in the game.
Does.
Like him and Gordon Ryan honestly have some of the best ability to just rack points in positions, because their camps go 1, 2, 3, and they score, and they take it out. And they score, and John really has prioritized that in the training. Amir Alam looked phenomenal at the last trials. We hadn't seen him in a minute, and then he came out last trials and just looked better than we have ever seen him look.
And then he did Quintet, right?
Yeah, well, he's done Quintet for years. We've only ever really seen him at Quintet. And then suddenly we saw him at this last trials, and it was like, whoa, he leveled up significantly, and he is a huge force in this division now. So I'm really excited. He plays like a bigger 10th Planet guy style, but he gives a lot of guys a really, really hard time because he's dynamic. He plays an interesting guard. He is very flexible, and he can put you away. Brian Sexton in this division. Michael Egley is in this division. Diego Vasquez is in this division. Troy Everett, Night Pigeon, one of our favorite guys in the sport, one of the nicest guys in the sport, out here representing Novamente and TAC Team out of Denver, Colorado. Moving up to plus 99. Again, big shout out to Troy. Huge fan of him. We also have in this division, a lot of bigger gentlemen.
Yeah.
That I'm actually less familiar with. Henrik Verheda is in here, and we also have who am I missing? Nick Hartman is in here from Drysdale's as well. But yeah, that's the bigger guy division. It is a much smaller division, but still of 64 people.
It's still,
very few heavyweight divisions have 64 people.
Yeah, it's still a very large division for what it is.
So that does it for ADCC names recap.
Yeah.
Bit of a longer show, but y'all wanted us to do it. Those are the big names. We'll probably, hopefully, be getting brackets here in the next couple of days.
And if you go into Smooth Comp, it's all there. Like we said, when they weigh them in, they normally put the weights in, which is kind of fun to watch.
Except for the plus 99 guys.
Nah, some of them had the weights in there.
Okay. Some of them didn't. But
some of them didn't, but some of them did. So you never know.
Yep. So that'll be fun. I can't wait. Again, we're gonna have that is what next week's show is going to be is U.S. trials, because West Coast trials is always the crazy one.
Yeah.
And it's always, the streams are always great. It's always just amazing. This is the first one I'm not going out to in a little bit because the flights are about $1,000 or $1,200.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So
yeah, I mean, I couldn't justify spending $1,000 and then going back out to Vegas in 3 months for the
that's
Worlds.
the only problem.
That was the thing.
Yeah,
because the flights were cheap last time. We're like, I'll go back to back. But this year it was like, I've been looking at flights literally since trials got announced, and they've been $800.
It's also Easter weekend.
Yeah.
Which is
the cheapest we could get flights for my wife and I was like $650 a person.
Yeah,
and she was like, "Do you really want to spend $2,000 to go out for a weekend and then go to Vegas again?" I was like, it was really hard to justify. So we're going to cover it here like we did in the past, but it should be a ton of fun.
Yeah, we're going to watch a lot of matches, and we'll tell you how it goes.
If there's a match you want to have us see, absolutely hit us up on DMs at grappling_rewind.
Yep.
And we will definitely take a look at it. May not cover it on the show, but I want to hear the matches you all are interested in. And so let me know. Miranda, you got anything else going on this week?
Not that I know of, but, you never know.
You never know.
You never know what's going to happen. I don't know. It's still early in the week. So
I'm prepping for the eclipse. That's the only thing I'm prepping for.
Oh, yeah. I bought glasses so I can look at it.
Nice.
That's about the extent of what I'm doing for
awesome.
that.
I brought glasses for my wife and my brother so we can all drive out to Ohio or wherever we're driving to.
Yeah.
The Path of Totality to go do some time lapse of it and take some pictures of it.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to learn how to use solar trackers and how to learn astrophotography in essentially 30 days. So it's been a really interesting experiment overall to learn astrophotography in a month and a half.
That sounds quite interesting.
I'm still doing the final ends of prep for that. And then we're going to go out and do that. But trials and that are the only things on my mind right now.
Yeah. Training and working and training.
Yep.
That's about the extent of my life. So
that's all I got.
That's all I got too.
As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, my co-host,
Miranda.
And we are the Grappling Rewind. You see on that, whatever it is, stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.